Be cool, be kind, be classy. The cupcakes are sweet and sexy. Have fun and enjoy the journey. Or just have a good attorney. No big whoop, no biggie. She lives near New York City. And not just a YouTube show. When you know, you better grab a straw. Learn about the law. It's cool here in the shade. Sipping motions of lemonade. Cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Oh, Melanie Little is going live. Oh no, where is Melanie? Follow the island's melody. There's a concert within reach. No surprise, she's at Jones Beach. She heard some music far away. Captain Jack Stack Harbor Bay. He sings and his piano plays. Not all sounds are waterways. Speaking Yiddish and Latin, it's not just for Manhattan. It's for Goethe and Machegas. Ridiculousness that insanus. Oy vey, Marcus. Proset, that's for schmucks. Be cool, be kind, be classy. My cupcakes are sweet and sassy. And not just a YouTube show. When you know. Cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Melanie Little is going live.
What's up? Good morning. Good morning. No, good afternoon. It's 2 p.m. here on the East Coast, Friday, November 28th, 2025. And who's out there Black Friday shopping? Anyone? Is anybody braving the mall right now? I'll keep you company if you're braving the mall right now. So I got some weird, allergy on my eyelid over here. Like one of my eyelids is has this weird allergy that's it's all red and scaly. And so I was like, all right, why don't I wear my sunglasses today? And it's a good time to remind you that these sunglasses are $12 on Amazon today in very many colors. These are green. And I put the link in the show notes below because I knew people were going to be like, oh, where'd you get those sunglasses? They're they're $12. $12. Get them for stocking stuffers. They're awesome. Somebody told me the other day that they bought these sunglasses. They're on my Amazon list, but I put the little link right below for you so you too can get them. It's totally a style. It's a style. I don't know here's what I think it is. You know what I think it is? I have very sensitive skin anyway, and people who have blue eyes, listen, not that I'm complaining about having blue eyes, but people who have blue eyes have very sensitive skin in general, right? And if you have blue eyes, you know. And so I'm allergic to a lot of makeup, and I have, I use all makeup that I'm not allergic to. I use sensitive skin stuff. And so I've never been allergic to any of these products before, but my daughter said to me, because I said, oh my gosh, this happened to me. It's all itchy. It's like a pain in the ass. And she goes, I think it's your nail polish. It's all over TikTok. And I'm like, but I don't put my nails in my eyes. And she said, it's a thing on TikTok. And remember the other day I told you I got this cat eye manicure. So it's a different polish because I usually have the chrome. And that could exactly be the reason is this nail polish. So listen, TikTok isn't bad for everything. Sometimes it teaches us things. Maybe I need to get a different nail polish. Maybe I need to get off the cat eye and get back onto the chrome. That's all I'm saying. Pro tip also, when you have a ring light in front of you, and you're wearing glasses, you got to tilt them down like this. I know it looks weird from the side, but then you don't get the glare in your glasses. So what the heck? I don't know. It is what it is. But here's what we're going to do today because we didn't get a chance to do this the other day. We are going to read through the meandering drivel of Tully and what purports to be Mello. Okay? Because we didn't get to do that the other day when we read Cosgrove's motion with all of his vocab words in it. That many of you thought was drafted by ChatGPT because of all the crazy words that we learned, right? Do you remember what the crazy words were? Have you been trying to use them in your daily life? All of those vocab words? Hold on. I tried to put as many of them in my title as I could. Do you remember what they were? Risible. Risible means laughable. Anodyne means not likely to offend. Prescind. Prescind means to withdraw one's attention. Hagiographic. I pronounced it wrong. It's hagiographic, and it means excessively flattering. Hagiographic. Seriatim. Seriatim, which means it's Latin for in series or in succession. I mean, who ever thought that Bobby Kazi G would be teaching us all the new vocab words? Did anyone? Did anyone think that? I never thought that. Thank you. I like my shades too. If you want to buy them, they're like $13 on Amazon right now for Black Friday, and they come in a million colors. And the link is in the show notes below. And I have an allergy on my eyelid, but I don't care. I'm gonna rock the shades anyway. I'm not gonna deny you of my company, keeping you company while you're shopping today, just because I've got an allergic reaction to something that I don't even know really what it is. Oh, Blair ended his live just for me. Oh, isn't he so sweet? He's such a gentleman. Thank you. And welcome. And welcome. So we're gonna hear the affidavit. We're gonna read the affidavit from Tully and from, I think it's Cosgrove. Cosgrove cosplaying as Mello. Okay. Could be. That's what I think. And there's something else I wanted to tell you before we got started. Oh yeah, not 70% off. There's a Black Friday sale in the merch shop. The link is pinned in the chat. And it's something like 30% off if you spend $70. Listen, we have some cute ornaments and tie-dyed sweatshirts, and of course the tour shirt and all that stuff in there. And also somebody else said it's the nails. That happens to a friend of mine. I gotta do something else with my nails. That's crazy. Well, I guess I do. I got to go back to the chrome. The chrome never bothered me. It didn't bother my eyes. So it totally could be that. And listen, if my kids are learning something from TikTok, all the better, right? Just make sure if you're going to take advantage of the sale that you click the coupon. It's in the banner at the top of the landing page. So, just make sure you do that is all. Okay. All right. Let's go. Let's go to the papers because this is a work of art, a work of fiction, basically. And it's crazy because it is so obvious that Cosgrove has a conflict here. And Mello's already been disqualified. And Tully has a conflict too, because he's being sued by Lindsay Gattani. So I don't know what the judge is going to do with this. And remember, next Friday's conference for Aidan has now been turned into a Zoom conference. So I don't even think they're going to discuss this motion to dismiss. But you know what they need to discuss is the fact that Cosgrove hasn't even responded to the motion to disqualify him. That's been sitting out there since October 3rd. He didn't even respond to that one. He just filed his motion for an extension to file his response to this one with the response 8 days late. And the judge has already granted it. But, it's like better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission, I guess. It's so crazy. Christina, you just realized that Block Island is a real place? Yeah, it's in between Long Island and Rhode Island. You can take a ferry there from somewhere in Connecticut. You can take a ferry. No, you can take a ferry from Montauk. You can take a ferry from somewhere in Rhode Island, and you can also take a ferry from Massachusetts to Block Island. It is beautiful. It is like a land that is lost in time. It's very cool. It's very cool. Really cool. All right, let's go. Listen, I'm wearing the sunglasses anyway. If people come in and start asking why I'm wearing them, you can tell them why. I got an allergy. Look, I got an allergy. One of my eyelids is all red and it's bothering me, and the light's bothering me. So I'm going to wear it. I'm going to wear them. And I'm part of the I Do Not Care Club. It is the I Do Not Care Club. If you do not see the I Do Not Care Club Thanksgiving post, go look at it for later. Go look at it for later. I do not care. This case is especially assigned to Judge Belizos. Okay. Oh, and with regard to the Dyson, for all of you that emailed me for the link to the Dyson, that was $379. It's totally sold out. You can't get it. Can't get it. They have a sale of one that's $499 instead of $619, but it has all the attachments, not just the 3 attachments, which I thought was such a great deal. So sorry. Sorry about that. It is the I Do Not Care Club. Okay, here we go. This is the appendix of Cosgrove's motion. So in his appendix, he attaches 2 affidavits. First one is the affidavit of Lieutenant Brian Tully. 1. At the time of the initiation of the investigation of Aidan Kearney, aka Turtleboy, in May/June of 2023, for intimidation of witnesses in Commonwealth versus Karen Reed, I was the commanding officer of the Norfolk County District Attorney State Police Detective Unit. Okay. Let's use our context clues. We know that Aidan Kearney, aka Turtleboy, did not publish his first article on the Karen Reed case until April 18th of 2023, which was around the same time that the Haas Long to Die in Cold search was revealed to the public. We also know that the rolling rally did not take place until when? Who knows the date of the rolling rally? Was it in June or in July? Don't guess for me. I need the exact date, because what I think is going on here is that the initiation of the investigation into Aidan Kearney started even before the rolling rally. It started the second he wrote one article about that 227 search. It was July, right? And so here it is in black and white. Tully is telling you and me and the world that they started investigating Aidan Kearney right away. Why? Ipsy Dixit, because she said so. You need to do something. Can you make him stop blogging about me? July 22nd, 2023. You need to do something. Make him stop. Can't we just put him in jail already? Right away. Because Jen was screaming immediately to them. They didn't waste any time, did they? It's before the rolling rally, okay? So if you think the rolling rally was the impetus or the trigger for them to try and put him behind bars for witness intimidation, it wasn't. It was from his very first article. And I'd love to know how many articles he published in April. If anybody wants to look it up and let me know. Right away. Number 2, about 6 months into that investigation in September of 2023, District Attorney Morrissey engaged Attorney Kenneth Mello as special prosecutor for Kearney matters. Yeah, all the Kearney matters. I have reviewed what is captioned as an affidavit in support of motions submitted by Attorney Mark Betterow, ostensibly in support of a motion to dismiss indictments pending against Kearney on various grounds, or in the alternative for an evidentiary hearing prefatory to any ruling on that motion. Really? Do you think that Brian Tully knows the word prefatory? Or is Kate Peter writing his documents too? For those of you who would like to use the word prefatory in your everyday conversation, it means introductory. And I have also reviewed various materials submitted by Mr. Betterow in support of his motion. This was not filed today. This was filed the same day he filed his motion. This was filed on the 25th. Today's the 28th. So today's Friday. It feels like, I don't know what it feels like, but it doesn't feel like Friday. This was filed 3 days ago. We read the motion already, and I've linked the show where we read the motion. I mean, the response to the, this purports to be a response to the mega motion by Cosgrove. I've linked the show in which we went over the response in the show notes below this video. This is the appendix to the response by Cosgrove. And this first piece that we're reading is the affidavit of Lieutenant Brian Tully. So just to recap, they started investigating Aidan immediately upon his first article about the 227 search. And I think that was his first article in April of 2023, April 18th, 2023. They started investigating him right away. And they won't even pin it down to whether it was May or June of 2023. But you know damn well that it was right away because the witnesses started squealing. And then it didn't even take 6 months. 6 months later, in September 2023, Michael Marcy hires his buddy Ken Mello to be special prosecutor for Aidan Kearney. Somebody asked when the hostage video was. That was August of 2023. And now, a couple of days ago, Brian Tully is submitting this affidavit in opposition to the motion. And here's the big problem. Brian Tully is conflicted off this case. Brian Tully is being sued by Lindsay Gattani. Lindsay Gattani is a witness in the remaining cases. I understand that they dropped the charges against Aidan for the 2024 case involving Lindsay Gattani. But that does not mean that she's not a witness in the 2023 case. She absolutely 100% is. And she is suing Cosgrove and Tully and Mello. And they all have a conflict. So I'm living in the Twilight Zone. I just am. And so are you. Hold on. In paragraph 29 of the Betterow affidavit, the defendant complains that the grand jury was never asked to return an indictment after receiving evidence of an illegal wiretapping of Stephen Scanlon and suggests that the presentation of such evidence was part of a nefarious scheme to dirty up the defendant. It was, in fact, the intention to later present further testimony by Mr. Scanlon, but concern arose as to whether a Norfolk grand jury had appropriate jurisdiction to bring that particular indictment. Mr. Scanlon, having been in Suffolk County at the time, so further presentation was held in abeyance while that issue was considered, a situation that extended through the natural expiration of the then sitting grand jury. Really? Really? All of a sudden, you're concerned about jurisdiction and ethics. Sounds like a story, right? Hold on, please. Hold, please. I'm not entertaining drama and defamation of other creators, of adjacent people in the chat today. So guide your actions accordingly. Is all I'm going to say. Okay, I don't care what the trolls are saying in other people's chats. Number one, that's fine. That's getting deleted. And just keep it out of here. You want to go in other people's chats and behave that way, that's up to them to run their channel. This is my chat, my choice. I decided yesterday that's going to be a t-shirt, my chat, my choice. Okay? So if you can't keep it classy and you can't keep the drama out of my chat, then bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oops, hold on. Yep, it is a drama-free zone, and and again, Gail, I don't care what other people are doing in other chats. Okay, I don't care. I am part of the We Do Not Care Club. Okay, thank you. So what Tully is saying here is that, oh well, we were going to try to indict him on the wiretapping charge for Stephen Scanlon, but because Aidan did not live in Norfolk County and Scanlon lived in Suffolk County, we couldn't indict him in Norfolk County. Really? Is that what they want you to believe? And the Suffolk County DA wanted nothing to do with this. They would have found a way if they could have, right? If it was legitimate, they would have found a way, I'm sure. The defendant raises various issues about my role in the presentation to the grand jury of relevant video excerpts from his online presentations that were played for the grand jury. With two exceptions, the Scanlon video and the before and after Gattani video, wherein the Commonwealth alleged that the defendant altered the original video to evade wiretapping charges. All of the video excerpts were found by me online. Really? He's saying that he found all of those little snippets online by himself with no help from not so confidential informant, mafia asshole, K. Peter. Okay? That's what he wants you to believe, because they now are distancing themselves from Kate Peter. They are distancing themselves from Kate Peter. They used her. They don't need her anymore. There's no way they can ever put her on the stand because her credibility is shot. But you can bet your ass that Bradel and Betterell will call her to the stand. You can bet your ass. But now they're going to distance themselves from her, just like they threw Lindsay Gattani under the bus, right? Right. How did Tully know about the existence of those videos and where to find them? Oh, you can't see what I'm doing right now, but last night somebody was commenting like, why are you always looking around? What are you looking at? I have a small screen in front of me and I have a giant screen to my right. And so it's so hard to read some of the font. And also I have my phone right next to me to watch the chat. So I'm usually looking at other places to read things that are too small for me to read on my screen. So I'm not ignoring you. I just have to be able to see. As previously noted, the Scanlon video has not resulted in an indictment, and the relevant Gattani indictment, I am told, was on or about October 22nd, 2025, null prossed by the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. Oh, I'm sorry. He's trying to make it look like he didn't know that was going to happen. I'm sorry, what? Let me read that again. As previously noted, the Scanlon video has not resulted in an indictment, and the relevant Gattani indictment, I am told, was on or about October 22nd, 2025, null prossed by the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. Really? You're told that it was, that they decided to drop the charges? You don't really know for sure? You didn't know it was coming? They didn't, are you kidding me? And what they're also telling us here is that, oh, we never indicted him for the Scanlon video, but we still might. Or we might get our buddies over in Suffolk County to do it. Or hey, if Scanlon now lives in Norfolk County, maybe we would have jurisdiction. And so we're kind of holding that as security. We're holding that in escrow. We're going to hang that indictment over his head. Right? I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Mr. Mello is not electronically sophisticated. Oh, well, here we go. Let's throw Mello under the bus. Mr. Mello is not electronically sophisticated. Boomer. He's boomer shaming Mello. Is there a thing as boomer shaming? This is Tully saying this, allegedly. Mr. Mello is not electronically sophisticated and was not familiar with the audio-visual technology in the grand jury room. And therefore, he tasked me with playing the video excerpts entered into evidence for the grand jury. I had operated that equipment during witness testimony on previous cases. He knew how to work the equipment. And so he was asked to work the equipment. He's the AV squad for the grand jury room, apparently, Tully is. Man of many talents. To facilitate my finding the correct videos at the appropriate time, I grouped them into electronic folders by alleged victim or topic. Well, at least he's calling them alleged victims. And I named the videos to accurately describe their content, often using the exact relevant phrases spoken by the defendant. He is swearing under oath that he is the one who named these videos. And I don't know, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that somebody pointed out once to me that Kate Peter took responsibility for that somewhere online, that she's the one, and she fully admitted that she was the one who named them, but she just named them things that she thought that they represented. But now, under oath, Tully is swearing that he's the one who did it. Right. RRR 333 in Massachusetts says, didn't Kate Peters say on Twitter that she named the videos? I thought so. I thought somebody said that. But now he's swearing that he did it. You know why? Because they do not want Kate Peter to have to testify because of her credibility issues. Yeah, you can't keep the lies straight. It's hard. Hard. It's really hard to keep it straight. In BA paragraph 36, okay, he means BA to represent Bettero affidavit, but every time I see BA, I think of Brian Albert for some reason. So in paragraph 36, the defendant misleadingly represents that I, quote, apparently edited and renamed various of the defendant's videos and falsely alleges that special prosecutor Mello and I used this altered evidence to mislead the grand jury as to the defendant's intent. Well, yeah, the folder was called intent. My alleged editing consisted of selecting the relevant excerpts from the defendant's online presentations and presenting those excerpts in full. If one of Kearney's online presentations ran, for example, 2.5 hours and covered various topics, I chose the statement that the Commonwealth believed was relevant evidence, right? The Commonwealth that you believed showed his intent. Come on. Is it only me who can see right through this? As to the claim that the Commonwealth tried to mislead the grand jury as to his intent, I note that the Bettero affidavit makes no attempt whatsoever, much less an attempt supported by evidence, to describe the defendant's actual intent. I'm sorry. Are we in a movie right now? Are we in the inside out, upside down Narnia of the land of the lost? Here's Chaka up in the corner. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you expect a criminal defendant's attorney to provide you with his intent, which is an element of the crime that you are going to need to prove? And he's got a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination? Are you seriously making that statement without laughing through it? Are we supposed to take you seriously? This is a joke. I'm going to read that again for emphasis. As to the claim that the Commonwealth tried to mislead the grand jury as to his intent, I note that the Bettero affidavit makes no attempt whatsoever, much less an attempt supported by evidence, to describe the defendant's actual intent. Wow. Wow. Yes, I don't care. I need to know says they were literally rewritten in the first person. Right. And Thunderhorse says Kate Peter did name them. She's already admitted to that. You're right. Aidan Kearney's attorney should have explained his intent in his affidavit. Are we living in where are we? "13. The defendant was more candid in speaking to his online audience and describing his intent. Consider, for example, in an August 30th of the year 223. Apparently, 223 is a word is a year now because nobody in the Commonwealth knows how to proofread. So, in an August 30th, 223 presentation of Kearney's record record of himself addressing people with a bullhorn and saying, I'm sorry, that's exactly what it says. I'm reading it word for word. Consider, for example, in an 8:30-223 presentation of Kearney's record of himself addressing people with a bullhorn and saying, "We are trying to affect the jury pool." Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. It's 223 BC before Canton. Susan, not that Susan. You win so far today. No, I didn't have LASIK. I just have like an allergy. Like my eyelid is like all, I'm not even gonna show you. It's like all swollen and red. I don't know what it is. But I did not have LASIK. No. I heard that's really painful though. I heard having LASIK is like somebody pouring buckets of sand into your eyes, and I don't want to have it. I'll just keep wearing glasses. Don't worry. Mom of Three Blessings says weaponization of the judicial system. And it is the land of confusion. And that's a Genesis song. And that's on the playlist. I think the playlist is back. It's in the show notes below. We started a playlist for the Karen Reed trial, beginning with trial 1 and continuing throughout trial 2 and pre-trial. And it is below in the show notes to this video. And it's something like, I don't know, it's got to be like 17 hours of music already. And all of the songs are in there that popped into my head and yours during the course of this trial. Hold on. But again, I think it was Kate who just pointed this out. How is that witness intimidation? We are trying to affect the jury pool. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. How is that witness intimidation? He was asking them to tell the truth, not change their testimony, tell the truth. And this was before the first trial. What was played for the grand jury were the defendant's exact words and the defendant's exact images. There was no attempt to mislead, and neither was there any need or desire to do so. To the extent I may have mentioned the titles I assigned the video selections, it was to create a clear record as to which excerpt the grand jury was viewing at that particular time. And as noted, the titles I assigned were almost invariably taken from the words the defendant himself spoke in the relevant video. During the course of the investigation into Kearney's behavior, various individuals contacted myself. Okay, I have a lot of pet peeves. I have a lot of pet peeves. One of them is the improper usage of the word myself. Does anybody else have that? Does anybody else have that pet peeve? No. Various individuals contacted me. They contacted me. Okay. The proper word is me. Tell me I'm wrong. But forget about my grammar snobbery for a moment, if you will. And let's use our context clues to see what else Tully is telling us in this sentence. Various individuals, he's trying to distract us with his improper grammar. Various individuals contacted me. Some of the Norfolk DA CPAC members, the special prosecutor, and others to complain about the specific online presentations or other acts by the defendant. Wow, that's interesting. So for the 6 months starting in May of 2023, when you started investigating Kearney, who are these individuals that contacted you? Who are they? Not only did they contact you, but they also contacted Mello directly. And what does CPAC stand for? Remind me. Who what various individuals? It's a little vague, aside from Jennifer McCabe, because we've seen the communications. What does CPAC stand for? I'm waiting for that answer. I'm looking at my phone to try and get it. So all of these people contacted Tully, Mello, and others. Who are the others? This calls for an evidentiary hearing. This calls for an evidentiary hearing. This is a self-serving affidavit by a man who is conflicted out of having anything to do with this case. And he needs to get on the stand. He needs to get on the stand. Yeah. Thank you, Suze, for your 50. Hold on. Let me pull that up. Civilian Personnel Advisory Center. Well, thank you, Josh. That's CPAC, Civilian Personnel Advisory Center. Is that like the witness? Is that like the victim witness advocate person? What various individuals? All of these people? All of the family members, all the House defendants and their family members? I want to know if I'm Bradel and Betterow, and I'm sure they want to know, who exactly are these various individuals that contacted you? Which individuals contacted the CPAC members? Which individuals contacted Ken Mello? And who are the other people that they contacted to complain about specific shows that Aidan Kearney did on his YouTube presentations or other acts by Aidan Kearney? What other acts did they complain about? What other acts? This man needs to get on the stand. Thank you for providing a one-way ticket for you to get on the stand. Right? We want answers. Name them. Lucy says, CPAC is Canton Police advancing cover-up. Well done, Lucy. Well done. Coming in hot. The snark tank is coming in hot today. Thank you, Suze, for your super generous 50. She says, it can take excerpts of Tully and Proctor's testimony and make it seem like they are threatening multiple individuals. Context matters. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Did they contact the ice cream man? Did they contact the FBI? I mean, this is super vague, and I think it needs to be pinned down a little bit more on the stand. What do you think? Thank you, Suze. You're awesome. One such person, oh, well, here's one such person, was Catherine Kate Peter, whom I learned was a rival online personality who shared a mutual dislike with the defendant and from time to time would send me links to various of his presentations. Okay, well, hold on a second here, because now my grammar snobbery is going to get in the way of the actual meaning of this sentence. Kate Peter shared a mutual dislike with the defendant? Who did Kate Peter and Aidan Kearney hate together? Because that's what that sentence means, right? Right. Mutual with who? So what the sentence says is that Kate Peter and Aidan Kearney shared a mutual dislike of someone. Who? This is another reason why Tully needs to take the stand. Because this is confusing. And so Kate Peter contacted, I don't know, you or Mello or the CPAC members or other people. And at some point, when exactly did you learn that Kate Peter was a rival online personality? A rival of who? I know what he meant, but words matter. I'm sure he meant a mutual dislike of the defendant. Right. And mutual with who? If you meant to say of the defendant, mutual, is he admitting that he and Kate Peter both disliked Aidan Kearney? Because now this begs the question, right? Okay, if that's what you say. But what he's saying here is that Kate Peter and Turtleboy disliked somebody. We don't know who. I was not aware of Ms. Peters' 2020 YouTube copyright dispute with Mr. Kearney. And here's where it gets good. Or his, hold on, I need a different color highlighter for this one. Let's use green. Or his alleged use in that dispute of a forged federal civil complaint described in the Betterow affidavit. Well, here's the thing, Tully. Aidan Kearney didn't forge a federal complaint and send it to YouTube. It was her. It was Kate Peter who did that. Oops. That's a big error. It is not Aidan Kearney who forged a YouTube copyright complaint and forgot to change the index number to something later than a 2013 docket number or index number. It was Kate Peter who did that. So words matter. And so far, you're like, oh, for however many. Somebody said, I assumed he meant that Kate Peter and Turtleboy mutually dislike each other. Yeah, but we should not have to assume. You know what happens when you assume? You know what happens when you assume? You know, anybody who's ever watched The Odd Couple knows what happens when you assume. And the judge shouldn't have to assume. And the judge shouldn't have to guess. And the judge should not be given wrong information. This is blatantly wrong. I don't care how many big words Cosgrove used in his opposition. Is bad. This requires an evidentiary hearing, in my opinion. Tully goes on to say, I never viewed the November 20th, 2022 interview with Ms. Peters. Now she's Ms. Peters. And neither did anyone bring it to my attention. Was that the self-snitching interview that she did on some guy's channel? I'm sorry, I forget the creator's name, where she totally admitted that she submitted a forged federal complaint to YouTube to get Aidan's channel copyright stricken through YouTube, and it worked. And she fully admitted it, but he says he never viewed it. Okay, how about this? How about you do your due effing diligence when you're going to use someone as an informant, a volunteer informant? Do your due diligence, because the only thing that you're proving to us is that you suck as an investigator. You might suck more than Michael Proctor sucks, and more than Yuri Buchanan sucks. And wasn't he like the supervisor of them or something like that? I'm sorry. You're going to take her word for it as a volunteer informant for the Commonwealth, and you're not going to do your due diligence on her to make sure she's squeaky clean and has credibility? Similarly, I had no knowledge of Ms. Peters planting. Ms. Peters is, and now it's Ms. Peters apostrophe S. So now it's Ms. Peters apostrophe S. Grammar snobs unite. Trigger warning for all of you. I had no knowledge of Ms. Peters planting a false story about Colin Albert as alleged in paragraph 131 to 144. Right. She also admitted on that same YouTube presentation of the creator that I forgot his name. The YouTube grammar snobs are like, I'm right here. Ms. Peters admitted on that. Ms. Peters is admitted on that same creator's YouTube channel. And we looked at it. We watched part of that stream on a very old presentation of mine. She admitted she made up the story about Colin Albert. Well, Colin Albert, because that's what Cosgrove calls him, Colin, was dealing drugs, right? What was the made up story that she made up? Kate says, KP planting a story. Hi, Emily C. I love you, Emily C. Zoe says, CPAC was defined as Crime Prevention and Control Unit within Norfolk DA's office on day 5 of Karen Reed's civil trial, Commonwealth versus Karen Reed trial. Thank you. Zoe is our resident statistician. She's got all of the information. All of it. She told us that there were 204 sidebars in Karen Reed trial number 2, and we are anxiously waiting on the edges of our seat to get those transcripts. Thank you, Zoe. Hold on. Kate made up that Colin was selling drugs. And you know what's interesting about that? Is that I think that Chris Albert and Julie Albert thought that he was selling drugs through the pizza shop. Wasn't someone else blamed for that? Wasn't someone else blamed for that? When did Jennifer McCabe and Chris Albert and Julie Albert and Brian Albert and Nicole Albert find out that Kate Peter made up the rumor about Colin Albert selling drugs in D&E Pizza? Has she been excommunicated yet from the family? Anybody put a horse's head in her bed yet? I mean, I'm just asking. It's all rhetorical. Here, I got something right here. We're going to look at this. I think we should make this a daily thing. Somebody very adorbs and specially gave this to me. It's a deck of cards. It says affirmations for a badass. I'm going to shuffle them and we're going to look at today's affirmation for a badass. Okay. Pick a card, any card, pick a card, any card. I'm going to pick one from the middle of the deck and here it is. Affirmations for a badass. Today's daily affirmation is whoever is trying to bring me down is already below me. Check it out. I'm not even kidding you. That's exactly what it says. That was not a card trick. And there it is. I think it says the both. Yep. Whoever is trying to bring me down is already below me. Do you like it? Do you love it? Bang, bang. Pull up. Bang, bang. We're going to do this every day. Affirmations of a badass. I mean, that's like really perfect. That's like so perfect for today. And I think the cards are going to tell us every day what's important. And that's what's important. Right on. Little cupcake gave these to me. They're better than the Magic 8 Ball. Read it and weep. Well, Zambi Man says, wasn't he dealing something out of the pizza shop? Well, apparently that wasn't true. That was the rumor that Kate Peters started. Right? Bang, bang. Pull up, Advantage boys. And when we read Cosgrove's opposition to the mega motion the other day, like he had no idea that what he quoted in that motion about like pull up, was it pull up that he said? That was something that Colin Albert had said in one of his videos that was shown during Karen Reed Trial 1. So I guess that Cosgrove didn't watch Karen Reed Trial 1. He wasn't even aware of that, right? Sheesh. It was bang, bang. Pull up. No, I don't think it was bang. It was, I'm going to F you up. Thank you, oh sweetie. No, it was, I'm going to F you up, right? Those are Colin Albert's words, not Aidan Kearney's words. I'm going to F you up, right? Okay, moving on. He says, had I been aware of such a thing, I would have informed Special Prosecutor Mello. Okay. He needs to get on the stand. As to any person who contacted me and suggested that I should speak to some person who allegedly had information concerning criminal activity by Mr. Kearney, including Kate Peter, my response was the same. That person needs to call me directly. Again, how many people contacted you and told you to speak to other people? Who were they? Who did they tell you to speak to? You need to get on the stand. Thanks for opening this can of Tully worms, Cosgrove. Well done to you. It's like one of those cans. I don't even know what you call those things. It's like a can. They look like a Pringles can, kind of. And you would open it up and a giant snake would pop out that was like encased in a slinky. You remember? I don't even know what that thing was called back in the day. That was like the gag gift. It was AJ repeating Colin's words in court. Correct, correct, correct. Is that a reference to Lindsay? Who knows? Who knows? Could be anybody. Could be anybody. Snake in a can. This isn't lemonade. I don't know. I don't know, but it was a can of, I don't remember. It was like a snake. Hold on. Listen to this because it gets better. When you think it couldn't get better, it does. As to any person outside law enforcement agencies or the district attorney's office who sent me links to alleged online presentations by the defendant, including Kate Peter, having been extensively trained and retrained in cybersecurity and being aware that I was a potential access point to the office system, I made it a practice not to access such links. If the material as described seemed of possible interest, I would request information as to where it could be located online and then go to that source directly. Okay, great. Let's see the emails to Kate Peter back after she sent you those links that were then deleted. Where's your email back to her saying, tell me the titles of these presentations so that I can go find them myself? I bet they don't exist. What do you think? Maybe they self-destructed after 30 days. Did he use his personal email or did he use his work email? Or did he use text message or did he use Signal? We know that he was text messaging with Kate Peter. Were those text messages deleted before you did the extraction of Lindsay Gattani's phone? Because, only selective things were deleted before you did a total extraction of Lindsay Gattani's phone. Like, your text messages and Kate Peter's text messages and stuff like that. So exactly where did you write back to her? Can you prove that? Probably not. But we should just trust you, bro, right? Should we just trust you, bro? Yeah, I see. You've been extensively trained and retrained in cybersecurity. Can't wait to hear all about that training. Archie says, I love your sunglasses. I feel like you're reading a eulogy for the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. That's it. I should have like a schmata on my head, like a black schmata, and I should be like a widow. I should have like a lace thing. I should be in mourning. I should be crying. Kind of like that, right? And that was their story, and they're sticking to it. Tully would never click on any links. He knows better. In point of fact, when email arrives from outside of the Commonwealth systems, it typically comes with the following warning automatically attached. Oh, and look what I did for you. I highlighted it in yellow because we've seen this on so many of the FOIA documents that came out. The emails is like a big yellow box that says caution. This email originated from a sender outside of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts mail system. Do not click on links or open attachments unless you recognize the sender and know the content is safe. I mean, clink, that was Freudian. Yeah, we've seen that. The suggestions that the investigation of Mr. Kearney was, quote, outsourced to Kate Peter, and that, quote, the MSP told her several weeks before Mr. Kearney's arrest that they intended to arrest him on October 10th of 2023 is unequivocally false. Well, I guess you're going to have to get up on the stand and be questioned about it. As will she. Isn't that going to be a fun day? Kearney's arrest was in conjunction with the execution of a search warrant for electronic devices in his home and car. I was particularly concerned that there be no leak concerning the execution of that warrant, and the information was thus very closely held. Indeed, I understand from Mr. Mello that I did not inform him of the timing of the execution until the morning it was in progress. Well, let's try and decipher what this word salad means. I was particularly concerned there be no leak concerning the execution of that warrant. What they really wanted to execute was Aidan Kearney. I'm just going to toss that out there as a joke. He didn't want Aidan Kearney to know that they were coming. He was very concerned about that. And so what are you saying, that Kate Peter would leak it? Because she did. She said something like, guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen on October 10th or something like that, right? Can't be expected to remember everything, but it was something like that. And he's saying that the information was thus very closely held to the vest, close to the vest. He held it so close. This is lava. Indeed. Then he says this. I understand from Mr. Mello that I did not inform him of the timing of the execution until the morning it was in progress. So you don't remember? You don't remember, Tully, what you told Mello? You're relying on Mello's memory? You're relying on Mello's memory of what you told him. You don't actually remember what you told him. Well, now we got to get Mello on the stand too. And if your memory is that poor and you don't keep notes of your conversations with the special prosecutor, then you have no business being a detective lieutenant of the Massachusetts State Police Department. Salty Owl Almanac says he writes like a former theater kid whose parents insisted he go to law school. He's got distorted memories, false memories. He doesn't even remember. So he's going to rely on Mello, who's clinging to life somewhere, apparently. We're sending him all the healing vibes, but you're relying on his memory now? Is this drivel? This is drivel. Am I right? So Mello tells you that you told Mello only on the morning of the execution of the search warrant that you were going to go to Aidan Kearney's kids' bus stop to execute the search warrant. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, these people somebody needs to take their keys away. Yes. Yes, Clayton. Okay. Well done to you, sir. The embarrassing chapter of the Massachusetts State Police is not yet closed. That's what the union president said about Michael Proctor when they cut him loose and no longer stood behind him, the union. And they said, we hope that this will close an embarrassing chapter of Massachusetts State Police history. Oh, it's not closed yet. Well, listen to the KP. They have an explanation for that too, Deanna. Listen up. While I no longer recall when I informed Mr. Mello, I have no reason to doubt his account, right? Because nobody lies at the Norfolk DA's office. They all tell the truth. While I no longer recall when I informed Mr. Mello, I have no reason to doubt his account. Is it a hazy false memory? You just can't make this up. To buttress the fiction that Kate Peter had inside knowledge of the defendant's arrest, Attorney Betterow quotes from a radio transmission, quote, heard from KP, it was the same thing from yesterday. Two older kids getting on around the same time, but it was 8:30. Then tells the court that on information and belief, KP referred to Ms. Peter, and she helped the MSP coordinate Mr. Kearney's arrest by monitoring him beforehand. Wait, they have an explanation for this. Ready? The current trend in law enforcement is to execute search warrants when the target is outside the residence, thereby reducing both the target's access to weapons and the possibility of evidence destruction, as well as increasing the safety of both the officers and the target. Well, aren't you trendy? I mean, the MSP is so trendy. He wants you to think they're trendy. That's the current trend. Well, I have questions. Okay. And he's not just saying that this is specific to MSP. He's saying that this is the current trend in law enforcement and search warrants. Let me ask you a question. I mean, I'm just going to throw a hypothetical out at you. Okay. Let's say you're not executing a search warrant, but let's say you're serving a restraining order. And in order to take a woman's baby away who's suffering from postpartum depression, okay? And she's got access to weapons because she's a police officer. Would it be advisable for you to serve that order or those orders upon Kelsey Fitzsimmons when she's outside the house? So thanks for self-snitching on the North Andover PD, who apparently did not follow the current trend in law enforcement. right? Just saying. And do they trend in solo cups? I'll read that again. The current trend in law enforcement is to execute search warrants when the target is outside the residence, thereby reducing both the target's access to weapons and the possibility of evidence destruction, as well as increasing the safety of both the officers and the target. Three clerk Monty says the current trend in law enforcement investigative tactics drive by on the way to and from work. Yeah, in case any evidence magically reveals itself like taillight pieces. And then Tully goes on to say, I did not want to conduct the search while the defendant's children were present. And I also did not want to arrest him in front of his children. Oh, Sweetie No says, I'd love to read more about this trend and how it's been documented. Oh, BS button. Motion for the BS button granted. Mhm. Right. They only get the men outside the house. They got Karen and Kelsey at home. Yes, when they went to seize Karen's phones, in January of 2024, they surrounded her effing house. Okay. Go watch Microdot's amazing video about that. They surrounded her house to collect those two phones while she was inside. Wow. Here it is. Here's the KP that they say they're referring to. Sergeant Keith Pantazellos was tasked with monitoring the defendant prior to the execution of the warrant and informing us of when the defendant's children were safely on the bus. Has anybody ever heard this name before? Sergeant Keith Pantazellos. Has he appeared in any police report, in any document, in anything ever? He might have. Maybe I missed it. Was he in any of the search warrants? Was he ever mentioned before? Ever? He too will need to take the stand. The list of subpoenas for this evidentiary hearing that must happen, unless the case is just outright dismissed, is getting longer. Nobody's ever heard of him, right? No. Sergeant Pantazellos was the KP referenced in the transmission Mr. Betterow proffers as evidence of Kate Peters' knowledge and involvement. Mm-hmm. Right. So they wouldn't just refer to him as Sergeant Pantazellos. Oh, well, here's a question for you, guys. When referring to another sergeant, let's say, over radio transmissions, do you use initials or do you use numbers or do you use names? Tell me. Anybody have inner workings of how the radio transmissions work on the MSP radio? I would love to know. Do you use initials? Do you use shield numbers? Do you use full names? Do you use code names? Like the eagle has landed? I mean, everyone says, well, Scooter says numbers, PSP says numbers, Raider Kev says we use names. I want to know specifically Massachusetts State Police, Sergeant Kitchen Patrol. Don't tell me you think, only tell me if you know. Kyle, I know you were in Dallas though, or somewhere in Texas, so I want to know specifically. Always the first name is the rank. Well, I don't have a real answer to that. So I want to know. And that's a question that will be asked of Tully on the stand, I'm sure. They wouldn't just say KP, right? Kraft Haskell says we need to get that sergeant's work logs in detail for that day. I mean, they really tried hard. They really looked on that list to see if they could find someone else with the initials KP. Yeah, where's Mass Dad when we need him, right? About 6 hours elapsed between the defendant's arrest and his arraignment at Stoughton District Court. During his booking, the defendant was accorded his right to make a telephone call, which I believe he made to his mother. Okay, so you believe? Then he says this, possibly by means of his conversation with his mother or by other means. Word of the defendant's arrest soon became public knowledge, and phone calls came in to the booking station to ask about Kearney's status. Oh, so do you think his mother made a Facebook post? Do you think his mother put it out on Twitter? Do you think his mother made a Reddit thread, put out a smoke signal call to his followers? And that's why his arrest became public knowledge? Let's blame his mother. May she rest in peace. When I arrived at Stoughton District Court, the halls and immediate areas outside the courthouse appeared to be occupied by Kearney supporters, while the courtroom itself was occupied largely by supporters of Jennifer McCabe and the O'Keefe family. Why is that? Because you didn't let anybody who supported Aidan Kearney into the courtroom? You forced them to stay outside the courtroom, outside the courthouse? And you only let the supporters of Jennifer McCabe and the O'Keefe family in? I'm sorry, does Jennifer McCabe have supporters? Did she have supporters in October of 2023? Or she has fans? Justice for JJ, right? They called her JJ too, right? Is that what those buttons really meant? Justice for JJ? Justice for Jennifer McCabe? I did not see Kate Peter in the courtroom, but after the hearing, she introduced herself to me in the hallway. And so he's gonna say that he had no idea who she was. Wonder if that hurts her feelings. The email communication from Kate Peter to me, the email communications from Kate Peter to me have been retrieved from the office computer system at Special Prosecutor Cosgrove's request, and I understand have been provided to the defense as discovery. What about the email communications from you back to Kate Peter? What about the text messages? What about any other modes of communications that the two of you might have used? I don't know. Direct messages? Did she slide into your DMs on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram? What about the emails from her back to her from you? Notice he's very specific. The email communications from Kate Peter to me have been retrieved from the office computer system at Special Prosecutor Cosgrove's request, and I understand have been provided to the defense as discovery. Signal, right? Did they communicate on Signal? This is a good reminder for everyone to smash the like button because it's the polite thing to do. I am advised that the quote links in some of those emails no longer work. And then he says, assuming they once did. Because, he never clicked. Because he's really trained in cybersecurity. He's very trained in cybersecurity. He should get these sunglasses so he too can be incognito. I have done nothing to alter the links, and neither have I accessed them or downloaded information from them. He's been trained and retrained. Yep. Let's be accurate. As to any online presentations, statements, or electronic communication by Mr. Kearney, my concern has always been to find and verify such information myself. I recognize no obligation or duty to click on every link in every unsolicited piece of information. Praise be. Wow. Yeah, crazy. What about your private emails? What about your other email address? What about your burner email? Because, everyone else communicated on a burner email. Did you? Hold on. right? He recognizes no obligation or duty. He's also not a lawyer. In paragraph 184, the defense complains, because that's better as complaining, that it has not been provided with any response by D.L. Tully to Ms. Peters' question about files in a now dead Dropbox file. There was no response. There was no response. It'd be so funny if Lindsay Gattani comes up with a screenshot that Kate Peter might have sent her, being like, look, Tully responded to my email with all the links. And she's got everything. In Limonene says Massachusetts State Police Sergeant Keith Pantazellos is a narcotics case supervisor. And so that's why he was the one responsible for figuring out Aidan Kearney's kid's bus schedule. Really? That's hilarious if true. Thank you, in Limonene, for providing us with that info. Gatuni, Lindsay, save the day. You got a screenshot of that, babe? Because you kept everything because you're smart. You've been burned before. Nothing got by you. We've seen it. Melissa says it too. Sergeant Keith Pantazellos is a Mass State Police narcotics supervisor. Do you think that he was really, let's go back to the exact verbiage, okay? Sergeant Keith Pantazellos, who we now find that in 2023 was a narcotics supervisor, was tasked with monitoring Aidan Kearney prior to the execution of the warrant, the search warrant for his phones and computers, and informing us of when the defendant's children were safely on the bus. Really? He's a sergeant. And that's what you had him doing, like akin to like traffic duty? Okay. We believe you. In paragraph 186, Attorney Betterow offers as an ostensible fact that, quote, according to D.L. Tully, he relied upon information Ms. Peter provided him before he edited Mr. Kearney's YouTube episodes. In support of paragraph 186, Attorney Betterow cites an affidavit of defense paralegal Courtney Healy, Defense Exhibit NN. Apart from any question as to the accuracy of Ms. Healy's affidavit, I call the court's attention to the fact that it makes no mention of Ms. Peter, and neither does it state that I, quote, edited any video. More word salad. We have an emoji for that. Although at the end of the day, the important question is the accuracy of information presented to the grand jury, not how the information was gathered. Oh, really? So it doesn't matter if you obtain evidence illegally. Send a bat signal out to Karen Reed's civil attorneys, who will take great pleasure in Brian Tully's affidavit, since he's a defendant in that case, that Brian Tully has sworn in this affidavit that although at the end of the day, the important question is the accuracy of information presented to the grand jury, not how the information was gathered. I agree with Mr. Betterow's contention that the Commonwealth had no reason to consult with or seek Ms. Peters' input on what evidence should be presented to the grand jury. I did not do so. Yes, he just admitted that it doesn't matter how the evidence is obtained. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the important question is the accuracy of information, not how the information was gathered. Like, were these really pieces of Karen's taillight? Doesn't matter if someone smashed the taillight the next day and the taillight fairies sprinkled those pieces of taillight in the coming weeks near the lawn of 34 Fairview. It just matters that they were actually pieces of her taillight, right? Yes, it just did. Well done, Cosgrove. Well done drafting this affidavit for Tully to sign, because this is going to be used every single time he gets on the stand from now until the end of time. Isn't it true? I mean, by then he could just be Mr. Tully. Isn't it true, Mr. Tully, that on November 23rd of 2025, you signed an affidavit in the case of Commonwealth versus Aidan Kearney? Well, yeah, I did. And isn't it true, Mr. Tully, that in paragraph 44 of said affidavit, you stated the following, quote, although at the end of the day, the important question is the accuracy of information presented to the grand jury, not how the information was gathered. Isn't that true, Mr. Tully? Well, yeah, but, not really what I meant. It's right there for you in green and white. In identifying relevant videos, I relied in significant part on the feedback from victims as to which portions of Kearney's episodes had intimidating effect. Oh, well, that's another excellent point for cross-examination. Oh, Mr. Tully. Oh, Mr. Tully. Which victims provided you with feedback? All of them? Okay, great. We're going to be here a while. Okay, so with respect to Jennifer McCabe, did Jennifer McCabe give you feedback about Mr. Kearney's presentations? Yeah, and what feedback did she give you? And specifically, what episodes did she say had an intimidating effect on her? Because, the witness intimidation statute in Massachusetts is based on hurt feelings. And so you can go through each and every one. And Julie Albert, yes, which presentation did she say had an intimidating effect on her? These civil depositions in the Karen Reed versus everyone case, in which Brian Tully is a witness, are going to go on for weeks. I could spend all day on that one sentence. I could spend all day on that. And I wish I could. I wish. Oh, well, I'm chomping at the bit to depose some of these people. Signed this 23rd day of November, 2025, under penalties of perjury. XOXO, Lieutenant Brian Tully. And it's not a real signature. It's just typed in a script font. It's not notarized or anything. I don't know. Here in New York, affidavits like this have to be notarized. I guess in Massachusetts, they don't believe in that. Affirmations by attorneys don't need to be notarized, but affidavits of, civilian witnesses or law enforcement always need to be notarized. Do we not have that requirement in Massachusetts? I don't know. Somebody tell me. Does this page have 4 corners? I mean, look, he doesn't even make it a separate document from the affidavit of Robert Cosgrove, because the signature page is on the top of page 9. And Tully's affidavit ends on page 8. Everyone put your sunglasses on, Dr. Jen. Toxic. Jen says, are we all wearing sunglasses or just me and Melanie? Put your sunglasses on. It instantly makes you feel cooler. And also it helps my whatever infection I have on my eyelid not get worse. Wow, just wow. Tully may have just written himself his he may have just written himself. Well, I don't know if he wrote that or or Cosgrove wrote it, but thanks, Cosgrove, because you may have just opened him up to liability in the Karen Reed civil case. And many other cases, right? I mean, let's go. Here's the affidavit of Robert Cosgrove. Okay, so on my thumbnail where I said the drivel, I don't know what I said. He's just Ken. And I said he's just Ken. And then I said something like the drivel of Mello and Tully. This isn't even the drivel of Mello. This is the drivel of Cosgrove cosplaying as Mello. It's like what Mello told me. Hang on, let's go to the chat for a moment, shall we? Let's do that before we move on to the next affidavit, because this is so much fun. We need to make it last. Hold on. Kraft Haskell says Tully wrote himself out of a job and accused of perjury. Maybe. A couple of new members here. Thank you, Susanna Clark and Elizabeth, and welcome to both of you. Thank you, Kazi's. I mean, right? You guys are the snark tank for a reason. Kazi's Thesaurus is here and says, love the glasses. Thanks for your super chat. And Music of My Soul, thank you. Or drafted by Chat KPT, Kate, Peter, and Tully. Well done. Well done. It's very competitive today in the snark tank. It's Steph on the Cape says, hello, watching today with my daughter Bella, a twin, to hear about the papers. And we both think the glasses are fabulous. You too, Bella. Bella, I have twins also. Mothers of twins are very special. Your mother can get these for you on Amazon for like $13 today. Great stocking stuffers. They come in many. These are green. Hard to tell that they're green. I also have them in black. They also come in tortoise. Because Jimmy once said to me, I think the first time I did an interview with Jimmy, Auntie Deb was on his channel, and he's like, listen, you got to get yourself some big black sunglasses for when you come to Norfolk County. And I found these on Amazon. I'm like, these are awesome. I bought them in green and black. I like them so much. The link is in the show notes below. If you want them, get them. Who am I to stop you? Who am I to stop you? The dads of twins are special too. Listen, parents of twins in particular are special. If you have twins, you know. Charlie Sheen has twins. I said that to him the other day when he was live on Billy Bush's channel. Hold on. So hello to Bella and Steph. Thanks for watching and thanks for your super chat. Least likely lens says the shark version, which is basically the same. Are you talking about the Dyson? I don't know. I've never used the shark. I swear by the Dyson, and it's life-changing for me. Least likely lens. That's a good name. Thanks for your super chat. Laura says more like 21 months. It says 16 and every moment well spent. Thank you, Laura. Josh says, no way Tully actually wrote this. It is written way too lawyerly. Well, typically the attorney does write the affidavit. I mean, that's typically the way it's done. But the witness has to read it and make sure everything's correct and make corrections if there's stuff that's inaccurate. Thanks, Josh. Cupcakes for Justice. Well done. Says, have a bad migraine. Have to lay down. Watch this later. Thank you for a show today. Hope your eye gets better. Thank you for your 5. And I hope that your migraine gets better. Captain Harris has been here for 12 months. Thank you. Thanks on top for your super sticker. And Emanj says, happy belated Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. My new picture is Jimmy, my brother who passed at 32, born on the same day, month, and exactly 1 year apart. You and your brother were born on the same day, 1 year apart. I'm so sorry that you lost your brother. It's so sad. I'm so sorry. May his memory be a blessing to you. And I guess you remember him every year when it's your birthday. I know a lot of people who have kids born on the same day. It's more common than you would think. Thank you for your 5. And I'm very, very sorry for your loss. Thanks to Goodmans. Thanks, Goodmans, for gifting a membership. You're the greatest. You're the greatest. Shine on you crazy diamond says, I sent you a link to Kate Peters' video confession. Oh. Hold on. Hold on a second. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, well, thank you for sending this to me. Let's take a look. right here. This is a link to a tweet by Kate Peter from August 13th of 2025. And it says the following. It says this. She's responding to somebody's tweet that says, let's say the titles of clips were changed for argument's sake. KP says she changed nothing. It does not change their content. And that person is called, I call myself Weed Whacker. And then Kate Peter responds on, what did I say? August 13th, 2025. She says, I think what they are referring to is the file names for clips of live streams saved to my computer with short descriptors so I can find the appropriate clips for whatever I'm doing. If I go shoot up a CVS and videotape it and title it My Trip to CVS on YouTube, and during my grand jury for murder, the prosecutor introduced it as Suspect Enters CVS, it changes literally nothing. Timothy Bradle is a liar who put an innocent man in prison for nearly 2 decades. He clearly hasn't changed at all. Only idiots fall for his theatrics. Well, that's interesting. I don't see that as a video confession. Hold on, that was a tweet. Is there a video that goes with that? Because I don't see a video, but what else? I mean, I think she kind of admits it right there in that tweet, right? Okay. Go on with your bad self. Again, more fodder for cross-examination. Back to the papers. Oh, wait, back to the chat. Hey, it's me, says I so love your vocabulary snobbery. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your 5. And then Josh says, this affidavit was written by the same person who drafted Cosgrove's response. They keep making the same mistake with KP's name. Yep. Agreed. Friend of dog, thanks for your 20, says, this is laughable. It'll be a real tell how the judge responds to this BS. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Thanks for your super chat. Trained by Burgess, says Tara from Canada. Thanks. Oksana, thank you so very much for your $50 super chat. Says, happy Thanksgiving to our beautiful queen and all the lovely people in the chat, except for Tully, Kate, and Cosgrove, who I'm sure are here. Thankful for all of you justice warriors. Yes, I'm so very grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you so much, Oksana, for your super generous super chat. You're awesome. Not a House defendant says, CPAC equals criminally plotting against civilians. Thank you, super chat. And Sue says they were using Discord. They never disclosed that. Oh, right. The Discord, the family Discord group. Right. You know who's got screenshots of all that stuff? Lindsay Gattani. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We both reached for. She's got it all. She's got it all. The Discord, the family Discord group. And then they kicked Lindsay out of the family Discord group when she was no longer useful to them. Right? That's what happened. Thanks on top for another super sticker. And Kyle says, Sergeant KP, thanks for making me a witness, Tully. Oh, please. She's dying to be a witness. Are you kidding me? She can't wait to be a witness. Hold on. Oh, you're talking about Sergeant Keith. Yeah, Sergeant Keith is not going to want to be a witness. I thought you were being snarky and calling KP and Kate Peters Sergeant, but no. You're talking about the Sergeant Keith Pantazellos. Yes, he's not gonna lie. You think he's gonna lie? Think he's gonna lie for Tully? I don't think so. Not that. Mickey is coming here from South Africa and says, Melanie, your black sunglasses and attire give off a Pretty Little Liars vibe. Very appropriate. I'm so here for it. You know what? That is so funny that you say that, because yesterday I literally looked up the name of that real song because for some reason I was thinking Pretty Little Liars. And I needed to look up the song for some reason because it was stuck in my head. Two can keep a secret if one of them is dead, right? That's like the lyrics to that song. And I looked it up and I'm going to tell you what it's called and who that song is by because I had to look it up. But now, of course, it's not in here. It was the Pretty Little Liars theme song. And it is by, sometimes we digress. We have to. It is by the Pierces. And the name of the song is called Secret. And I can't play it for you because I'll get stricken on music, on content, but I mean on copyright. But it says, got a secret. Can you keep it? Swear this one you'll save. Better lock it in your pocket, taking this one to the grave. If I show you, then I know you won't tell what I said, because two can't keep a secret if one of them is dead. And it's the Pierces. And I read somewhere that I think it was Ashley Benson loved that song. And she was like, we need to use this in Pretty Little Liars. And also I love that TV show. It was really good. Well, I mean, the first couple of seasons were good. Then it strained credulity a little bit when they kept making it go on and on and on for seasons without telling us who was doing it. Remember? Thank you for your 10. And, that's wild that you said that because I literally looked that up yesterday. Melissa says, go back to number 36. If Kate introduced herself in the hallway after, how would he know if she was in the courtroom? He just incriminated himself. I don't know. Maybe he saw her walk out of the courtroom. 36 says, I did not see Kate Peter in the courtroom, but after the hearing, she introduced herself to me in the hallway. Well, I want to know what they said to each other. What did they say to each other? Again, another reason why he needs to get on the stand. Thank you, Melissa, for pointing that out. Hopefully the defense team is watching or someone will pass it along to them. Hi, Mrs. Bouquet. She's loving the snark tank. I love you with all of my heart. Thank you. Hello to Harrison as well. Tina says, Melanie, thanks for your breakdown of Tully's mistakes and lies. Thanks, Tina, for your super chat. For always being here. And Robin says, KP for the 9,682nd time. Aidan is so effed. KP meaning Keith Pantazellos. Thank you for your super chat. And Cali Pride FC says, it's rare these days to be live with you. So yay for us. Thank you for being here for all of us through all of these trials, Melanie. Happy holidays to you and your family. XOXO. Thank you. Heidi in Orlando. Thank you, Heidi. She says, hashtag Read Redemption Tour. I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. We're going to be covering this for like 10 years. Thank you, Jana, for your 1111 Venmo. That's hilarious. Very cute. I'm not going to read it out loud, but thank you for that. Stephanie, for your very generous $100 Venmo, says, wishing you and your family a beautiful holiday weekend. The sunglasses work perfectly as we all toss shade on this complete BS. Thank you, Stephanie. You're so kind and generous, and I love you so much. My hands are sticky. I don't have a napkin here. Okay. Stephanie, you're the greatest. You guys are all the greatest. Sherry, thank you so much. Says CPAC is an old acronym used for the State Police Detective Unit, SPDU. The old timers still call it CPAC. Someone gave you a Google search meaning of CPAC. That was incorrect. Well, thank you very much. That's an old acronym used for the State Police Detective Unit. That's what they call it now, right? SPDU. Thank you very much, Chief. Thank you, Betsy, for your 10. Says, thank you, sweet baby Jesus, for going live today while I'm at work for a few hours. Love you, Mel. Betsy, I love you even more. I love you even more. And thank you to Rebecca, who sent me the same screenshot of the tweet that we just looked at. You're awesome. All right, now we're going to move on to the work of fiction. That is the Cosgrove affidavit. Except shine on you crazy diamond. Thank you so very much for your €59.99 super chat. Says, hey, Melanie, Kate Peters refers in the X post to how she created the video snippets of the Aidan Kearney shows and how she named them so she could find the snippets on her computer, right? Exactly. That's exactly what we just read, right? I mean, I'm picking up what she's laying down. Are you? I'm sorry. Did I not? I thought I made it clear that that's what she was doing. But she's like self-snitching all over the place. And then Tully is saying that he's the one who renamed them. Did he rename them something different? Thank you for your super generosity today. You guys are amazing. And Trixie gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Trixie, for your super generosity as well. And Susan's here and says, Kate thinks that those files are deleted. I guarantee you that they are not. Need to message Court Bradle. All right, you do that, Suze. I know you're on it. You're on it. Now Tully is claiming to be the scribe, says Becky. That's right. That's right. Moving on to the next risible work of fiction, because it wouldn't be a day unless we had 2 works of fiction. And here is the affidavit of Robert C. Cosgrove. I, Robert C. Cosgrove, an affidavit. I, Robert C. Cosgrove, am a member of the Massachusetts Bar, so admitted in 1985. From 1987 to 2007, I served in various capacities as an assistant district attorney in Norfolk County. He's inbred with them. 10 years he worked there. From January 2007 into December of 2021, I served as a justice of the Superior Court. Well, he's not telling us here, but he was a justice in Norfolk County Superior Court. The following year, I served in the same capacity as a recall judge, after which I fully retired. That's why they're calling him Triple Dip, because he has a pension from serving as DA. He's got a pension from serving as a judge. And now he's also being paid by the Commonwealth again, or the DA's office directly, for his special prosecution of Aidan Kearney. You can correct me if I'm wrong on the Triple Dip, but I think those are the 3 pensions, or those are the 3 streams of income that Howie Carr refers to when he calls him Triple Dip Cosgrove. On or about March 2024, I was asked by District Attorney Michael Marcy to accept appointment as special prosecutor in connections with pending indictments against the defendant, Aidan Kearney. I agreed to meet with the district attorney and members of his staff to discuss the possibility. So if you're keeping score, I think Mello was hired in October 2023, or September, October, and then he was approached. Cosgrove was approached in March of 2024. Attorney Kenneth Mello had earlier been retained as special prosecutor, and my task was envisioned as assisting him with legal analysis and motion work. Really? You need a retired judge to do legal analysis and write your motions for you instead of like an intern? Okay. If you say so. After some discussion, I agreed to accept the position, having been assured that Attorney Mello, who was not at the meeting, would be pleased to have my assistance. A few weeks later, I attended a luncheon meeting in Bristol County consisting of Attorney Mello and about 7 other people, mostly officers, whom, with the exception of Lieutenant Tully, I had not previously met. As it turned out, that was my first and last face-to-face meeting with Attorney Mello in the course of the current proceedings. Okay. Why are they meeting in Bristol County? And who are those 7 other people? Why are they meeting in Bristol County? If all of the officers involved in this case are housed in Norfolk County, how far is Bristol County? That's like Fall River. How far is that from Norfolk County? Oh, Mello lives in Bristol County, says somebody. Okay. And then the next paragraph says, something's redacted. I effectively assumed blank Attorney Mello's role by default. I think it has something to do with his medical condition, not because he was ill. He effectively assumed Mello's position by default. I have reviewed what is captioned as an affidavit in support of motion submitted by attorney Mark Betterow, billed as in support of a motion to dismiss indictments pending against Kearney on various grounds, or in the alternative for an evidentiary hearing. I have also reviewed a memorandum of law and created a memorandum of law and certain exhibits submitted by Mr. Betterow. I submit this affidavit in support of the Commonwealth's memorandum of opposition to Kearney's filings. I begin by commenting on selected items in the Betterow affidavit. I do not purport to be anything close to exhaustive, so failure to comment on anything averred by Mr. Betterow should not be taken as agreement nor as preclusion of comment elsewhere or later. Well, I think I do not only speak for myself when I say that this is actually exhausting me. So you are very close to exhausting everyone who is reading this drivel. Back me up on that, snark tank. Paragraph 73 states that Ms. McCabe and Ms. Roberts attempted to convince the DA that Kearney had access to Ms. Reed's defense filings before they were publicly filed. If so, I believe they were correct. Wait, what? My picture is covering this, but this is it numbered paragraph 7 as a paragraph. Betterow affidavit, paragraph 73 states that Ms. McCabe and Ms. Roberts attempted to convince the DA that Kearney had access to Ms. Reed's defense filings before they were publicly filed. And then Cosgrove says, if so, I believe they were correct. If Jen McCabe and Carrie Roberts tried to convince Michael Marcy that Kearney, if that happened, then you believe that they were correct? What? Word salad, more word salad. How would they know? How would they know? Eight. Betterow affidavit, paragraph 83 marks one of my many statements Mr. Betterow makes on information and belief. Here, as in other places, that phrase might be more accurately replaced with, quote, on pure speculation designed to benefit Mr. Kearney. I'm here to inform you that on information and belief is a very, very common phrase used by attorneys in legal writing. But go on with your bad self and twist it into whatever you want, Cosgrove. Betterow affidavit, paragraph 95, sneers. Oh, now he's sneering. Okay. Sneers that DA Marcy ludicrously decreed that Colin Albert did not commit murder. Well, that's true. That is not a sneer. That is exactly what Michael Marcy said in his hostage statement, because we've watched it like 10 times. On information and belief, then he says, snarkily in quotes, the Karen Reed trial judge apparently shared that ludicrous belief, prohibiting the defense from arguing that Colin Albert could have harmed O'Keefe in closing argument because of the total absence of evidence supporting such a theory. Which trial are we talking about? He doesn't say. At Brian Albert, paragraph 108, at Betterow affidavit, paragraph 108, and elsewhere, Mr. Betterow seems to advance the novel proposition that anyone subjected to criticism by a purported journalist, or perhaps anyone else in parens, is thereby disqualified by conflict of interest from taking any action with respect that person's intimidation of a witness. I don't believe that is what we read, but okay. 11 at paragraph 113, Mr. Betterow recycles previously made arguments concerning Mr. Mello's representations as to cell phones seized by Mr. Kearney. Well, that's rich coming from you, who cut and pasted so many paragraphs of your response to the prior motion to dismiss in your last response that we read the other day. That's rich coming from you. The relevant issues have been long since argued and decided and are nothing more here than a, quote, make weight. At paragraph 52 to 59 is part of a discussion of issues relevant to the Reed case, but not to the case before this court, much less the issues in the present, quote, motion. Mr. Betterow mentions that Jennifer McCabe initially misidentified herself to the FBI and lied about phone calls she made after the initial approach. Right. She did. My understanding is that Ms. McCabe was not convinced that the parties who showed up at her door claiming two FBI agents were in fact such agents. Right. He's not responding to anything. He's just merely regurgitating the mega motion through his own lens. Thank you, Shelley. That's exactly. Cut and paste Cosgrove, says Sam. Robin says they will never concede to anything, so there has to be an evidentiary hearing. Yep. Your understanding of Ms. McCabe's lying to the FBI has no relevance, and it has no place here. And also, she lied to them after she confirmed that they were FBI agents. Remember that part? He doesn't know. He didn't watch. Putting that question aside, well, you should, because you're wrong. The court can take note that, quote, oh my God, hold on a second. Wait, first of all, what did I just do? Oh boy, here we go. Putting that question aside, the court can take note that, quote, Judge Betterow, end quote, describes McCabe's comments as, quote, materialized the FBI, end quote. Wow. Wow. Just because you were a judge, does that mean that you look down on everyone who's not a judge yet? And he just called him Judge Betterow in quotes. Citing paragraph 53. Them's fighting words. I observe that when the FBI believes that someone has materially lied to them in connection with an investigation, that someone is typically charged. Oh, is that what you think? Do you think she's going to be charged? Because she absolutely did lie to them. Maybe they're just waiting to have more evidence. So are you leaving us a little Easter egg that you think that Jennifer McCabe is going to be charged? Okay, thank you for that. I am not aware of any such charges being brought against Ms. McCabe. Wow. Relative to paragraphs 116 to 197, I became aware over the course of my duties that Catherine Kate Peter was a former employee of Mr. Kearney's, that the two had a falling out and were now mutually hostile, that she, like Kearney, was an online personality, that she had apparently befriended certain Commonwealth witnesses, notably Lindsay Gattani. Okay, so now you're admitting that Lindsay Gattani's a witness. Good, good, good. We're getting somewhere. And that she had provided some information to the Commonwealth. Okay, number one, you're admitting Lindsay Gattani is a witness. Great. And that is why you are conflicted out. And this should be just ripped up and thrown in the trash. It should be just ripped up and thrown in the trash. It's like toilet paper. And then, basically, Betterow's motion goes in unopposed and can just be granted on default. Case dismissed. Thank you. Goodbye. Because you didn't see fit to respond to the motion from October 3rd to have you and Michael Marcy and the entire DA's office recused. You didn't respond to that motion, but you got your billing hours in responding to this one. And your excuse to the court was that it took you so long because you had a hard time getting stuff from Mello. Maybe we'll get to that part. But here's the thing. Kate Peter didn't just befriend Lindsay Gattani. Oh no, she befriended Jennifer McCabe and others in the family. And she was even in their family Discord. So there's that. He says this, then Cosgrove says, I have never met Kate Peter. I have never spoken to her on the phone, by email, or by any other means. Tell me this, chat. Was Kate Peter present at the trial that we watched where Cosgrove yelled surprise and Lindsay Gattani testified? Was Kate Peter present in the courtroom for that trial? I genuinely don't know the answer, but I know that we watched that trial together. And it was highly entertaining. I wonder. Cosgrove tried that case. Lindsay testified. Kate and Lindsay might have been friends at the time. Did Kate Peters show up? I don't know. But he says he's never met her. I'm sure you guys will do a deep dive on this, but has Kate Peter ever claimed to have met Cosgrove? Says, and then he says, I have never spoken to her on the phone, by email, or by any other means. Well, but she did have a direct line to Mello, even if that is true. Prompted by a demand letter of October 8 from Mr. Betterow, on or about October 29th of 2024, I texted Mr. Mello, in pertinent part, requesting, quote, copies of any communications with Kate Peters. Then there's something redacted. And then it says, on or about December 16th, Mr. Mello forwarded me the pertinent emails. My attention at that time, was largely absorbed by issues involving setting up and effectuating a taint protocol. And that concern was immediately followed by the process of searching for and assembling emails from the named victims and their associates. The taint protocol in December of 2024. That was around the time. Well, that was after Karen Reed trial number 1. What was he trying to effectuate a taint protocol on in December of 2024? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone? And that concern was immediately followed by the process of searching for and assembling emails from the named victims and their associates. Karen's and Turtleboy's phones? Right, but they never searched Karen's phones from 2024. Turtleboy's phones, says Ashley Lauren. But was that Aidan's phones? Okay. It was my thought to turn over those emails and the Peters emails more or less simultaneously. I concede that I did not get the Peters emails to the defense until July of 2025. Okay. Took you 7 months. Although the delay is regrettable, it was always my intent to provide that information, and I do not believe the defense was prejudiced thereby, an issue I addressed more fully in the Commonwealth's Memorandum of Opposition. Well, the prejudice is the longer this goes on, the more Aidan has to pay his attorneys. And apparently you can't see that. Number 18. After consultation, I decided that the most effective way of finding any emails sent by Ms. Peter in Lieutenant Tully's possession, as well as certain other relevant emails, was to do a term search through the Norfolk DA computer system using a program identified to me as ETOS. That search, conducted by Office IT personnel, produced roughly 5,000 pages of documents, which were transferred to my laptop. I reviewed each page, making electronic redactions, a process that took me about 20 working hours. Okay, now, now he's going to justify his billing. He's justifying his billing. Because term searches invariably generate false positives, in the sense of documents that may contain a search term, for example, Peter, when the Peter in the document, hold on, lost my cursor. For example, Peter, when the Peter in the document might be Peter Graves rather than the relevant Kate Peter. Who's Peter Graves? This occasioned a number of redactions. In one instance, there was email correspondence with a number of attachments relating to a convict purporting to have information on a murder wholly unrelated to either the Karen Reed case or Kearney's. Well, wow, your job is so hard. Literally, you have one job. You literally have one job. And you're billing a lot for it. I wonder if Peter Tragos was named in any of those emails. That would be another Peter. That would be interesting to know. Were they talking about him too? Tully replied to this email, generating a further back and forth. And the nature of such electronic communication meant that each email irrelevant to Kearney's cases was each time reduplicated and thus each time required redaction. But wasn't there like 4,000 blank pages? Zelda says Peter Graves is a mission from on Mission Impossible TV show from the 70s. After I completed this process, which took me a really long time, I transferred all the pages of my redacted copy to a thumb drive, called up the document in the thumb drive, and concluded based on my observations that the transfer was successful. I delivered the thumb drive to the defense on July 7th of 2025. Sometime within a week, Mr. Betterow emailed me complaining that the majority of the pages on the drive were blank. How dare he complain about that? As explained below, this ostensible problem was quickly remedied, and any implication that the Commonwealth engaged in misrepresentation to the court is untrue. See paragraph 294. I immediately responded to Mr. Betterow's email, stated to him that obviously this was not intentional, and asked him to return the thumb drive so that I could ask Norfolk DA IT to examine it and if they could determine the source of the problem. I added that I would have the IT department, rather than myself, do another transfer that I would check to make sure all the pages copied and provided the defense with a replacement thumb drive. Several weeks passed with no comment or response to my request for the original thumb drive, so I cannot speak with any personal knowledge as to the existence of blank pages, although I have no reason to doubt the veracity of what Mr. Betterow represented, really, because you just mocked him and called him Judge Betterow. But now you have no reason to doubt that the pages were blank. Okay. Okay. He didn't check his work, Becky. He didn't. I nevertheless followed through, replaced the thumb drive with a new one, verifiably containing all the pages as acknowledged in passing in paragraph 296. If it is true that the Commonwealth never responded to the information Mr. Betterow characterizes in paragraph 286 as a request for evidence, that is likely because the Commonwealth already responded to what I regard as an essentially identical request from Mr. Bradle in my letter of May 8th, 2924. That's right. It's in the future. He wrote a letter to Mr. Bradle. He's going to write a letter to Mr. Bradle on May 8th of 2924. See? Do you see that? Back to the Future. Nobody proofreads. i.e., if there is data missing, that is because it was missing when the phone came into the Commonwealth's possession, custody, and control, and thus we do not have it. Yeah, right. Hello, get Tully on the stand. Did Tully delete anything? Did K. Peter delete anything? Right. It's not what Lindsay says. Following service of the Bettero affidavit, I emailed a copy to Attorney Mello and asked him to review it. On or about October 15th of 2025. We're back in 2025 now. We spoke on the telephone about that and other matters. As of today, Monday, November 24th, the Commonwealth's response is overdue. And Mr. Mello, through no fault of his own, has been unable to forward me his affidavit. I mean, it doesn't even look like Tully signed yours. Why couldn't you just type a signature in after he confirms that his affidavit is truthful? Because you didn't. Have Tully signed with an original signature, as far as we can tell. So Mr. Mello, through no fault of his own, has been unable to forward me his affidavit. Are the carrier pigeons on strike? I mean, lacking that, the next best thing appears to me to be to report on representations, as I am confident he made during our conversation, which is, of course, hearsay, but one hopes, quote, reliable hearsay, per Mr. Mello, and adopting his voice for paragraphs 26 through 58. Wow. So now he's adopting Ken Mello's voice for the next 32 paragraphs. You too can adopt Ken Mello for $1 a day. The future's so bright, I gotta wear shades. Because, today's badass affirmation says, well, I can't read it. Whoever is trying to bring me down is already below me. And we shuffled the deck. We pulled a random card. And now he's adopting Mello. He's cosplaying as Mello. He's adopting his voice. And even though it's hearsay, Judge, trust me, bro. Are you ready for it? Here it is. And the way that you know that he's adopted Mello's voice is that it's a different font. I mean, it's a different font. So you know what? For the adoption of Ken Mello, we're going to use purple highlighter now. Look, it's a different font. Of course, this is Ken Mello's font. Art. Did he change the size of the font too? Did he go from like 10 to 11? So many things I need to know. And Nancy says the spelling is wrong in the document for Sergeant Keith Pantazellos. Can't even get that right, or purportedly written wrong to confuse people. I think the latter. I would go with the latter on that one. I put money on it, Nancy. You get a voice, and you get a voice, and you get a voice, and you can adopt Mello, and you can adopt Mello, and you can adopt Mello's voice. Thank you, Skyview, for 2. Here we go. In the voice of Mr. Mello, which has been adopted for purposes of this hearsay. And I don't really know Mello's voice, so I can't really intimidate it. Emily says, is today extra funny, or have I officially lost it because I'm crying? No, you might have lost it. You might have lost it, but I'll allow it. Listen, somebody was in the chat. I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? I don't know. All the days are blending together now. This is like, it's like a big watercolor painting where everything is blending together because we use too much water with our watercolors. And somebody said, I am healing from my lung treatments. I just started lung treatments today for my lung disease. And like, I asked them to, I gave them a warning. I said, listen, I have to warn you, you need to shut the stream off because I don't want to make you laugh, because laughing could be very painful for you. It could impede your recovery. And somebody actually sent me an email and said, That was so kind of you to say that to that viewer, because I also had lung issues and it was very painful for me to laugh. And you're so kind. It was so kind in the way that you gave that viewer, showed that viewer the kindness and told them to turn off the stream. And I was like, I guess. I mean, look, I'm looking out for you guys. I'm here to help. I'm here to help. The universe knew, says GV, that Melanie needed the glasses today to protect her eyes from this aphrodite. My eyes are burning from this. It's like you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it. Now we need to adopt Mello's voice. Okay, ready? Sorry, hold on. You probably couldn't even hear that because I have like my mic set to like automatically adjust the volume, which I need to turn off, because if I do that, then you can't hear like some parts of the jokes. Like, for example, you guys probably didn't even know that the bullshit button makes talks. Listen. Oh, wait. Did you hear the bullshit button talk? It talks. But I always have my mic set on like automatic. And so I'll tell you, the bullshit button says like 4 different things. Listen, you couldn't hear it? Okay, let me move it away. Did you hear that one? It says BS detected, take precautions. And then it says DEFCON 5. And there's another cool prop that I have, but I gotta look for it. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Mr. T's keychain. Mr. T's keychain. You can't even buy this anymore. Okay, this is vintage. You cannot even buy this anymore. But if you know, you know. Ready? Ready for Mr. T? Here you go. You didn't hear it? How come some people heard it and some people didn't?
Don't give me no back talk, sucker.
Did you hear? Oh, you know what? I think maybe because I have it set also to reduce background noise and echo. I'm taking all of those things off right now. I don't know what's going to happen next. Here we go.
Don't make me mad. Shut up, fool. I pity the fool. Quit your jibber jabber. First name Mr. Middle name period. Last name T. Don't give me no back talk, sucker.
I had to unclick all those boxes, and then just for your listening pleasure.
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
Okay. I mean, listen, gotta have a little comedy with your legal toilet paper, don't you? All right. Here we are, adopting the voice of Mr. Mello. Attorney Batterow contends that I, Kenneth Mello, used the first day of the grand jury proceedings to dirty up Kearney by introducing irrelevant and prejudicial evidence relating to an uncharged allegation that he wiretapped Stephen Scanlon. A topic entirely unrelated to the witness intimidations allegations before the grand jury. Sorry. I just imagine what it would be like if you had a CPAP machine on and you had to try and speak. That's it. I'm only going to do it for 1 paragraph. That's it. That's all you get. That's all you get. This is why we can't have nice things. This is why we can't have nice things. Reminder that you too can have these sunglasses. They're $13 in the Amazon shop today. I'm only wearing them because I'm allergic to something in my makeup that gave me 1 red eyelid. And I don't want to put makeup on today. All right. All right. The link is below in the show notes. Get them as stocking stuffers for all your kids. Like, who doesn't need, they're like Devil Wears Prada sunglasses. You feel instantly cool when you put these on. You just do. I'm not going to hurt my voice. I know how to use my diaphragm. Sheila, is this your first time here? Come on. Hold on. They're polarized, right? They're polarized. They are. All right. I will read that now in my regular voice. But this is adopting Mr. Mello. Is he on a milk carton? How do we adopt? Is there going to be a commercial to adopt Mr. Mello's voice? Attorney Betterow now contends that I, Kenneth Mello, used the first day of the grand jury proceedings to, quote, dirty up Kearney by introducing irrelevant and prejudicial evidence relating to an uncharged allegation that he wiretapped Stephen Scanlon, a topic entirely unrelated to the witness intimidation allegations before the grand jury. Okay, so let me get this straight. So this is what you imagine that Kenneth Mello would say if you had a Ken Mello dummy on your lap and you were a ventriloquist. This is your performative dance, let's say, of your interpretive poetry. Your of what you believe Ken Mello would say. Okay, all right, we'll go with it. It's experimental, but I mean, I'm sure this will be admissible in any court of law in Massachusetts because of course it is. What do they call it when like slam poetry? When like people get up and they do like is it called slam poetry? Olivia, I'm allergic to eye makeup or something, and one of my eyes is really red, so I'm wearing the sunglasses. But you can buy them; they're $13 on Amazon. They're Black Friday sale. The link is below. Is that called like what do you call that? Slam poetry, performative dance? I don't know. It is true that on my first appearance before the grand jury, I presented in good faith evidence relevant to the defendant's wiretapping of Mr. Scanlon. Now, remember, when it says I in the sentence, you have to imagine as if it's Ken Mello saying this. But here's the thing. Ken Mello didn't draft it. Ken Mello didn't tell these things to Cosgrove. He's just adopting his voice. Adopting his voice. Oh my God. I'm dead. It's as if he's scripting what he wishes that Ken Mello would say in order to win this ridiculous argument. And we're all seeing through it. How could anyone defend this? How could anyone defend this? I am blinded. That's why I have to wear these sunglasses, because I am blinded by the shining light of truth coming from the adoption of Ken Mello. Kazi did not click the hyperlinks. He didn't. I consider the case to be in the process of investigation and did not present an indictment at the conclusion of that day for the grand jury's consideration, intending to later present additional evidence. Shortly thereafter, a question arose as to whether a Norfolk grand jury had jurisdiction to indict on a wiretapping case where the alleged injured party to the conversation was in Suffolk County. For this reason, I did not press forward on indictment. Oh. Did a grand juror raise their hand and ask that question? Because the grand jurors did have some pretty good questions for you. Was that one of them? Did a grand juror have to bring that to your attention? A jurisdictional issue? And for that reason, you decided to back away from charging Aidan Kearney with something else? I don't think so. I don't think so. I call.
Warning, bullshit alert.
Did Scanlon back off and didn't want anything to do with this anymore? He was being used as well, maybe? I consider the possibility of seeking appointment as a special prosecutor in Suffolk County. Of course he did. would, of course, have required my presenting the case to a Suffolk County grand jury and put possibly aside intending to research whether Kearney's actions could make out a complaint of intimidation of a witness, which, under statute, could proceed in Norfolk. You considered the possibility of seeking appointment as a special prosecutor in Suffolk County? Who's the DA in Suffolk County? And is he going to buy any of this clear and total?
That was bullshit.
Do you think? I don't know who the DA in Suffolk County is, but do you think he or she is going to buy any of this nonsense and would have actually hired Mello or adopted Mello to be a special prosecutor? I can't. This is, I mean, I'm sure that you've listened to like 10 other people read this to you. Has anybody else had this much fun with this than we've had here? I turned my immediate attention to charges that did not present a jurisdictional question. Oh, really? You turned down the opportunity to bill some more? Well, not you. I mean, the adopted you. That is really in Cosgrove's voice, pretending to be you. It's cosplay or ventriloquism. I'm not quite sure which. Fully occupied with those, I simply ran out of time to resolve the jurisdictional issues and make a further presentation to the then sitting grand jury. I want to see the adoption papers too. Thank you, American Simple. Cosgrove cosplay. Attorney Betterow also suggests, how come you're not calling him Judge Betterow? Did we, because we're adopting your voice. Okay. Attorney Betterow also suggests that I misled the grand jury by limiting evidence of Kearney's intent to, quote, D.L. Tully's edits of his episodes. I did not limit the evidence of intent to what was relevant. The so-called edits were unmodified excerpts exactly showing what Kearney himself had broadcast. No rational grand juror could have been misled, really? So again, you're shaming the grand jurors and saying that they were, it would have been completely irrational of them to assume that, you know, when you have a folder called intent and you give them a laptop to go into the grand jury room with, and they click on intent, that all of these things meant intent, and that the so-called edits, the titles were 100% edited. And I mean, this is like a whole new thing in Norfolk County. In Norfolk County, apparently now, you're allowed to just script what you want someone to say in your affidavit to prove your case, and then just adopt them in writing and just say that you're adopting them. And then you are allowed to just script whatever it is that you imagine that they would say, given the opportunity, because it's impossible for him to return the affidavit. So I'm going to script it for him. This is what he would say. I have adopted his voice, and this is what he would say. And so this is my screenplay, and hopefully a network will pick it up. This is, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in my 3-decade plus career of practicing law in the state and federal courts of New York. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Adopting the special prosecutor's voice, changing font, and then mid-affidavit, just adopting someone else's voice as if this is what he would say if he could, but he can't, so I'm going to make it up. Kazi G, the playwright. I mean, maybe this will be an off-Broadway show eventually. There are no words. I asked Detective Lieutenant Tully to prepare appropriate clips for the indictment and to play them for the grand jury. The titles he attached to the excerpts were, as I understand it, assigned to reflect the content and so enable Tully to find and access them efficiently when playing the video clips to the grand jury. Oh, wait a second. So the adopted Mello is now saying that he's the one, I mean, stick with me here, who asked Tully to prepare the clips and play them for the jury. The adopted Mello, voiced by Cosgrove, because Mello's not available, is the one who told Tully to do that. Are you picking up what I'm laying down here? It is fan fiction, right, Marcello? It is fan fiction by Cosgrove. I'm waiting for like the anime version. The titles Tully used were almost uniformly drawn from Kearney's actual words, and Tully never represented that the titles of the clips, which were obviously excerpts selected by the Commonwealth from longer Kearney broadcasts, were titles assigned by Kearney. Obviously. Obviously. Kate Peter had nothing to do with it. Adopted Mello is such a helpful lad. Isn't he, Lori Marie? He's such a helpful lad. The Guzma coma score is off the charts. That's right, little cupcake. Just when we thought the Guzma coma score couldn't get any better, hold on. Here's Guzma. He's sometimes our mascot because of Hank Brennan publicly outing himself as a Pokemon fan when he was fighting with Dr. La Posada. Have you heard of the Guzma coma score? She's like, I've heard of the Glasgow coma score. And he's like, no, it's Guzma coma score. And she's like, yeah, no, it's the Glasgow. And he's like, it's Guzma, but anyway. And then he publicly outed himself as a Pokemon fan because that's a Pokemon character. His name is Guzma, and he's in charge of something like an evil band of merry bandits. I'm not really sure. Like, you can't make it up. Dazed and confused. It is true that Kate Peter provided certain information concerning Kearney to the Commonwealth. Well, if adopted Mello says so. Adopted Mello will admit to it. This is Freaky Friday. Thank you, Jacqueline. That's so awesome because it's one of my favorite movies, like the original Freaky Friday and the Jodie Foster version. And what better material for Freaky Friday than this? I don't think there is any. I don't think there's any. At the time, I was aware of her as a rival blogger of Kearney's who believed she had been ill-treated by him, a status which hardly made her unique. Oh, okay. So adopted Mello is telling us in Cosgrove's words that he knew who Kate Peter was. He knew. He calls her some things like, rival blogger, which is not true. I don't think. But, a status which hardly made her unique. Yeah, because so many other people believe that they were ill-treated by Aidan Kearney, in your adopted words. Okay. All right. Hey, listen, admit all this stuff on behalf of adopted Mello, because I'm here for it. Saturday Night Live is missing such a great opportunity, but I don't know if this is like widespread enough for them to pick it up. I regarded Peter as a possible source of information, just as I regarded various others. She did not, in any sense, run, direct, or control the investigation into Kearney's activities. All right, well, as long as adopted Mello regards her as a possible source of information. I had no knowledge of her federal civil suit against Kearney years earlier, and neither was I aware of her subsequent alleged role on May 28th of 2023, feeding Kearney false information with respect to Cole and Albert, as described in Mr. Battero's affidavit. Well, here's the thing, adopted Mello. There was no federal suit against Kearney. That was a forgery. That was a forgery. Even adopted Mello, in the voice of Cosgrove, can't get it right.
I pity the fool.
Do you pity the fool?
I pity the fool.
There is no federal civil suit. That was a forgery. But he says he didn't know that on May 28th of 2023, Kate Peter fed Kearney the information about Colin Albert dealing drugs out of D&E Pizza. I did not follow Peter's social media presentations, and neither did I view each and every one of Kearney's numerous social media offerings. Now they're offerings. Offerings to the gods. Offerings in church. That would track the church, because, all of the reference to Saint Aidan, Saint Kearney, and, the demigods. All the Catholic references in the original papers. I have never heard so many lies about microdots. I can't wait to see what you do with adopted Mello, the adopted Mello. Emily, I'm sure Emily is right now crafting adopted Mello as a dummy on the ventriloquist Cosgrove's lap. The offerings of Saint Kearney. Yes, Saint A. Timothy Kearney. Saint Aidan and his offerings. Saint A. Timothy Kearney's offerings. That's what it is. Aidan, thank you for all of your offerings. The Norfolk DA's office has officially jumped the shark, says Annie. Can you believe they're paying for this? What's his hourly rate? Like 400? 450? How much are they paying him again? He did a legal seance. That's right. Kazi did a legal seance on Mello to adopt his voice because Mello is unavailable. So Kazi is basically just making up what he thinks Mello may say if asked. Right. Thank you, Full Throated Motion, for that. I can't even believe that I didn't know what I was getting into today by reading this, because this part was a cold read for me. And everything I'm doing is improv. I did not plan any of these jokes. In fact, the most common means by which Kearney's behavior came to my and the MSP's attention was through complaints from alleged victims, which rendered much of the information provided by Ms. Peter redundant. Oh, could you back yourselves away from Kate Peter any more obviously? I think not. Ms. Peters' primary contribution to the investigation was to provide contact information relative to Natalie Wywicki, the early go-between for Kearney and Karen Reed. Oh, really? That's the only thing she contributed to you, is to tell you how to get in touch with Natalie the German? Okay. Does anybody believe anything? Richie from Microdot says, I appointed myself Michael Mars, the campaign ad creative director, coming soon. I can't wait. Can't wait. If you guys haven't watched all the videos that Microdots has dropped recently, please go watch them. Each one a work of art. Natalie Wywicki was then interviewed by the Commonwealth, and a recording of that interview was presented to the grand jury. Okay. Peter's other primary contributions, but I'm confused now. All right, never mind. All right, if that's what he says, okay. Peter's other primary contributions consist of one. So this is what he considers. Mello would consider primary contributions of K. Peter. One, providing purported recordings by Kearney of a phone conversation with Scanlon. Yeah, purported recording. So now you don't even believe it's real? Adopted Mello. But as previously noted, the Commonwealth never procured an indictment based on that conduct. Okay, so you're now admitting that you inappropriately played that recording of Scanlon to the grand jury. I mean, they're admitting it, right? There's been like 17 admissions of that. I mean, not really, but maybe Zoe will count for us. And two, providing purported recordings of a conversation between Kearney and Lindsay Gattani. But I am advised that the resulting indictment has been nol pros. Well, yeah, you're right about that. Okay. So Kate Peters' primary contributions were giving you recordings of Scanlon and a recording with Lindsay Gattani. And for the Natalie's contact information. The information as the execution of the search warrant at Mr. Kearney's home was closely held by Detective Lieutenant Tully, who notified me on the same morning he intended to proceed, right? Tully does not let the secrets go. Two can keep a secret if one of them is dead. Got a locket in my pocket, taking this one to the grave. I was somewhat dismayed because I knew that Karen's arrest would require me to get over from Fall River to his arraignment at Stoughton District Court. Get on over. Is that what adopted Mello would say? I was somewhat dismayed because I knew that Kearney's arrest would require me to get over from Fall River to his arraignment at Stoughton District Court. Tully, how dare you dismay adopted Mello? How dare you? We have an emoji for that. How dare you? And then wait, for adopted Mello, motion to use boss baby emoji for adopted Mello granted. There we go. Oh boy, he had to get over to Fall River to Stoughton District Court. I don't know how far that is, but it sounds like wicked far if he's dismayed by it. I dressed appropriately, gathered such papers as I thought necessary, and called an investigator and asked him to drive me, which he did. I would love to know what he thinks appropriate dress is, but I digress. I did not advise Kate, Peter, or anyone else of Mr. Kearney's pending arraignment. When I arrived at Stoughton District Court, I was sitting for a time in the lot with my investigator in his truck. A number of Kearney supporters were outside the courthouse. We were approached by a blogger named Tom DeRosier. Oh, that's CPU, Tom CPU. Who I believed has or had an online presence as Tommy CPU, and whom I regarded as a supporter of Karen Reed and Kearney. DeRosier, I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but CPU Mod 1, you can tell me if I'm not pronouncing it right. Because Tommy never uses his last name. Immediately began a conversation, but I noticed he was recording. Advised him that he did not have my permission to record and that he was violating the wiretap statute. He then left. The contention that I outsourced investigative work to Ms. Peter, discussed strategy with her, and was aware that she edited Mr. Kearney's content with her own editorial slant and bias is utterly false. Except as previously noted, I relied on Detective Lieutenant Tully to independently locate each and every video excerpt introduced before the grand jury in Kearney's own internet presentations, all of which were introduced without modification, right, except for the titles. After the defense complained that certain links in some of the emails from Ms. Peter to me provided in discovery were not active. Okay, so you're saying you got them from her. You got them from Kate. DeRosier. DeRosier? I want to get it right. I'm just going to call him Tommy CPU. DeRosier? IO Columbia House. Well, first of all, amazing username. Second of all, says Mello was adopted by a veterinarian in Vermont. He goes by Cleo now. DeRosier? Okay. Special Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove asked me to revisit the emails I had forwarded him for that purpose and check to see whether those links could be accessed from my computer. I did, and they could not, says adopted Mello in the voice of Cosgrove. I can't even with this. This should be torn up and thrown in the garbage. Mr. Cosgrove also asked me to check to see if I had downloaded any of the material once theoretically accessible by link in the event that I might have a copy of such material on my hard drive. I checked and I do not. Didn't you say like in like one of your previous sentences that he's technologically not very savvy or something? Tully said that. Called him a boomer without saying he was a boomer. But you're going to, I mean, for purposes of your adopted Mello voice, you're going to say that he checked and he didn't find it. To the best of my knowledge, understanding, recollection, and belief, any of the Peter links I may have chosen to and been able to access were materials posted online by Mr. Kearney himself and thus remain within the defendant's knowledge, custody, and control. Okay, it's time to pull out the button because
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
really? Adopted Mello, you want the judge to believe that whatever links you were sent that you clicked on from Kate Peter absolutely exist independently of that and are still there? That is the most ridiculous ridiculous sentence. Out of all the ridiculous sentences, that might be the most ridiculous of all. To the best of my knowledge, understanding, and recollection and belief, any of those Peter links that I may have chosen to and been able to access were to materials posted online by Mr. Kearney himself and thus remain within the defendant's knowledge, custody, and control. Yeah, I thought they didn't open links. Yeah, that was just Tully, because Tully's been trained and retrained in cybersecurity, we learned. This is adopted Mello. Moreover, with the above noted exceptions consisting of a recording, which ultimately I did not ask the grand jury to return an indictment on, and a recording that generated an indictment but was dismissed by the Commonwealth as one of the Gatani indictments, all of the recordings or excerpts thereof were obtained by Lieutenant Tully directly from the internet and have long since been provided to the defense by either myself, Lieutenant Tully, or Mr. Cosgrove. In the event that Mr. Mello is able to complete, and now we're back to Cosgrove's font, okay? Because he said it was only going to go through paragraph 58. So now I got to go back to the green highlighter. Hold on. Now we're back in the voice of Cosgrove. In the event that Mr. Mello is able to complete his affidavit and I secure it in time for consideration by this court, I reserve any right this court may afford me to move to strike paragraphs 26 to 58 and submit that affidavit in their place. Have you ever seen anything like this in your life? Sworn this 24th day of November, 2025, under the pains and penalties of perjury. In a script font, the signature of Robert C. Cosgrove, Special Assistant District Attorney. He's special. He's so special. He is so special that he's able to adopt the voice of Ken Mello and put it in a different font and call it real. I don't even know where to begin with this. I think this is a fantabulous work of fiction. It is drivel at the highest level. And I just need to go back to Tully's affidavit to see how he referred to Mello. Mr. Mello is not electronically sophisticated, but adopted Mello knows how to download things. Narcissism at its finest. Is this actually legal? Lazy, the laziest legal writing I've ever read. Well, let's see what you guys say. Harrison is here. He's saying hello. He likes cupcakes. Hi, Harrison. Thanks for coming. Pro Gamer V15. Thanks for tuning in from Brussels. Can the civil judge, Commonwealth or federal, refuse evidentiary hearings as Kearney did in the criminal case? Do Tully and Marcy? Well, first of all, this is a state court action. What we are reading right now is a state court action. Do Tully and Marcy have family connections? I have no idea. Is Alan Jackson married? I believe Alan Jackson is married. He is. He's referred to his wife before in interviews. He's talked about his wife. And so this is state court that we're in right now. Thank you for tuning in from Brussels. Bridget says, I bet there is smoke rising out of Mr. Bedero's keyboard right now and in the days to come, all while cracking his knuckles. I bet that you're right. Bridget, thanks for your 5. Nancy says the Commonwealth want to delay and zoom on the 5th because of the Walsh trial. They're also trying to protect Kate Peter from getting on the stand because she can be charged before March. Well, also, I think it's only fair to give Bedero and Olivia and Bradle a chance to respond to this fan fiction, right? Well, that's another reason. Thanks, Nancy, for tuning in from across the pond. Megan says, after I heard the devil doesn't make life hard for those who are already his, I finally understood why so many bad people thrive while the good ones suffer. Happy Thanksgiving. I love you with all my heart. Thanks, Megan. I love you with all my heart, too. And Holly says, Nice glasses and disabled voice. Fantastic actress. Oh, thank you so very much for hanging out with me for 9 months. Josh says, when did the Mello Cosgrove conversation about this occur? No idea. No idea. They didn't say. It's not important. Details are not important, Josh. The dates are not important. What is important, as Tully told us, hold on, in paragraph, hold on. Where is it? Because I said they're going to use this in every time Tully gets on the stand from now until the end of time. I got to find it so I can quote it for you properly. Wait for it. Wait for it. Paragraph 44 of Tully's affidavit says, although at the end of the day, the important question is the accuracy of information presented to the grand jury, not how the information was gathered. He said that. Thanks, Melinda, for becoming a member. And thank you, Steph Matthews, for becoming a member. Thanks, Josh, for your super chat. Emily Hart says, I have a CPAP. She's laughing. Thanks, Emily. And Josh said, unless there's a sworn and ink-signed affidavit from Mello, none of this should be credible in any court of law. I know. But we're in the inside down, upside out, Narnia of the Guzma coma score. And sometimes, that's why Chaka is there, because land of the lost. And it's a joke. It is a joke. Lawyers everywhere are laughing in unison right now. Hi, Kelly Reed, says you're cracking Tammy and I up. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Tammy. Tammy's my spirit animal. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you guys are laughing. Jesus Christ. It's the least we could do, right? On Black Friday. Thanks for being here for 7 months. And Robert says they should all be behind bars. Thank you for your 20. And yeah. Collusion at the highest levels. We literally have Mello/Kate Peter emails. This is a lie, right, Josh? Right. It's a lie. They're just seeing how far they could push the boundaries, right? How far they could push the envelope. Allison says, how much you want to bet that Cosgrove needs to make up for gambling debt? More gaslighting as fresh judge endures slow rambling as he kicks the can. Thanks, Allison. Who also says, remember when Mello went after Bradel asking for sanctions? It's not coming to me. It's not coming to me right now. Thank you, Baroness von Brackenfell, for becoming a member. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you, Lynn, for your Venmo. Says, thanks for the laughs and explanations. I'm here for you. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? Right, Sheila, as long as you have the evidence, it doesn't matter how you collect it. Typical taillight fairy sprinkling pieces around. That's what I said earlier. Robin says, I'm done with this. It's time for a hearing, trial, or better yet, dismissal. Yep. American Symbol says, bullcrap. All information should be credible. How do we know when to trust anybody over there, right? And I mean, let's face it, in Cosgrove's motion for his extension, first of all, at what point in time did Cosgrove even respond to the mega motion? At what point in time did he respond to any point in the mega motion? Anyone? It was like, oh, look, something shiny. Look over here, look over here, look over here. And at what point in time did Cosgrove choose to respond to this motion that we've been over? It's 30 pages long. At what point did he respond to this motion entitled a motion to preclude the Norfolk DA's office from appointing another special prosecutor and to disqualify Special Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove from the 2023 case due to his irreconcilable conflict with Ms. Gattani. Because in all the papers we just read, they all said that Gattani is a witness, right? And to disqualify Special Prosecutor Robert Cosgrove from an ongoing investigation of Karen Reed and Mr. Kearney for conspiracy to commit witness intimidation. At what point in these papers did he respond to this motion from October 3rd? Because when he did his little, he filed his little, better to ask for forgiveness, beg for forgiveness, than ask for permission motion that he filed at the same time as this response on the adopted Mello alleged affidavit that was quickly signed off on and consented to or granted by the new judge, Belizos. Now I got to go back to, hold on a second. I got to go back to the, I got to go back to his motion for extension of time to answer the late filing. Because he said in the late filing motion, which is right here, I want to go back to see what his excuse was, what the abada says. Hang on. Because we read that so long ago. It was probably 1 day ago or 2 days ago. But here's what he said. He said, I got to make this a little bit, hold on. Well, that doesn't really work. Hold on. Oh, can you just make it bigger? Now comes the Commonwealth and moves this court for leave to file a late memorandum in opposition to Attorney Bettero's affidavit in support of motion and associated submissions. Okay, well, you're not really specifying which motion it is, so can we also assume that you received the motion to disqualify you? As reasons, therefore, undersigned counsel states that despite diligent attempts to complete the work by November 17th, additional time was reasonably required. Among the reasons for the delay, undersigned counsel underestimated the necessary time for both these matters and another matter due the same day on a case before Judge Krupp, and also encountered delays in procuring requested affidavits. Well, you never got an affidavit from Mello, so you adopted his words into yours in a new font. You never got it. Excuses. They should fall on deaf ears, but the judge granted it, and it is my strong opinion that the motion to disqualify Cosgrove should be just granted on default. I mean, that's the way it works in like real courts. He didn't even bother to ask for an extension on that. He didn't even bother to respond to it. And so, you know what? Granted on default. And because he's disqualified, this should be thrown in the garbage and the case should be dismissed. Yeah, the judge granted it. Granted the extension of time. It was signed. Can you explain the joinder motion? Some are saying it means another charge or arrest is coming, and that's why the hearing is changed to Zoom. No. Joinder could mean joinder of the two cases. Joinder could mean let's take the 2025 window intimidation case and join it with the 2023 case so that we don't have to try two cases. We can try everything at the same time. It could be joinder of parties. It could be joinder of issues. So no, it doesn't mean new charges. It could just mean, and I'll tell you why I think that. And the reason that I think that is because if you look at that paper, which I don't have right in front of me right now, but let me just see if I can find it. Hold on. The Zoom order. It has the two index numbers on it. It has the two index numbers on it. One of them is the 2023 index number. One of them is the 2025 index number. Okay. So let me just take that down and then put this up. So potential joinder motions could just mean we want those two cases to be tried together. Okay. So much misinformation out there. People get all their panties up in a bunch about it. And the answer to that is no. I don't think there's going to be any more charges. I think they're just going to want to try both of these cases together because all of it's a waste of time. But, let's at least try and conserve some sort of judicial economy, right? Let's try and I'll show you that order in case you haven't seen it. This is the Turtleboy Zoom order. Hold on a minute, that's the wrong thing. Somebody sent me a screenshot of this, and so it's like impossible. You got to play around with it, whatever. Anyway, you see these two index numbers up here, two case numbers. One's the 2023 and one's the 2025. And it says procedural order regarding December 5th of 2025. The court hereby orders, hold on, that the motion to dismiss hearing scheduled for December 5th, 2025 is converted to a status hearing. On that date, counsel should be prepared to address the following issues. A, the status and potential impact of any motions currently under advisement. Yeah, Cosgrove should be disqualified and you should throw that in the garbage and dismiss everything. B, outstanding discovery and or discovery disputes. C, scheduling of in-person hearings on pending motions and or additional anticipated motions. D, this is where everyone got their panties in a bunch. Potential joinder motions. Yeah, joining these two cases together. The one regarding the House defendants and others, and the one involving the D&E window intimidation. And those alleged victims are Chris Albert and Colin Albert. And then E, potential trial dates. And that is signed by Judge Christopher Belezos, filed 11/26. And it says here, such hearing will be held via Zoom. Oops. Come on, man. To be administered by the session clerk in the Norfolk Superior Court. The parties are not to appear in person. The Zoom meeting will be opened to the public promptly at 2:15 p.m. All who wish to attend are welcome to sign in. And here is the meeting ID. If you screenshot this, if you want to sign in, it's 160-2988-0865. No password required. Counselor directed to contact the session clerk upon receipt of this order to discuss an orderly sign-in process for the parties. He is welcoming the public to sign into the Zoom. 2:15 next Friday is December 5th. We will be covering the Brian Walsh trial, gavel to gavel. And unless there's no court on that afternoon, we may have to do this on delay. And this is an actual signature, right? It's not a font. It's an actual signature by the judge. Can you believe it? I mean, I never am ceased to be amazed every time we cover something in this county. We've been here for almost 3 hours now, so thanks for hanging with me, you guys. You're the best. Thanks for becoming a new member. Thank you to Anna, who says Mello and Cosgrove sit in a balcony insulting Muppets on a regular basis, and they're mad that Turtleboy tells the truth on them. Make it make sense. I can't. Thank you for your super chat. Nay says, every time I laugh, my husband looks at me like I'm nuts. I'm wearing earbuds. Ms. Holmes, thank you. After 2 trials with Karen and Turtleboy's jailing and so on, I fear no fairness by any judge, and the doubling down just keeps going. Lord, let there be light. I agree. KLM says, can you explain? That was the joinder motion. It's not a joinder motion. Well, there's no motions yet, but I think I explained the order to you. So thank you. And that's why I asked you. Thank you. Thank you, KLM, because you know that you can trust me to give you the straight dope, right? I will give you the straight dope. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I will always tell you the truth, and I'm never sitting on a fence, because the only thing happens from me sitting on a fence is I'm going to get injured, and I don't like to get injured. And I also do not like splinters. Okay. All right, my friends, make sure you take advantage of the merch sale today. And the link is in the chat. And also, I think that's all I have. You got anything else for me? I know Scott's wanting to watch the Islander game, which I think started like a little while ago, right? 4 o'clock. What an awesome show today, says Mama Three Brother. Good. Share it out. Like it. Comment respectfully. Hit the like button. Thank you to the moderators. This is always a hard, I don't know, state to cover. I mean, at this point, it's like the state. And Truckers Against Tie Clips is here. He says, thanks for melting the miles. It is my pleasure. It is my pleasure. Thank you so very much. It is my pleasure. And Scott McGinnis says, I can call out false narratives. That plain, that simple. Yeah, I can't really see very well right now because I still have sunglasses on because of my eyelid allergy to whatever makeup I had on, or perhaps it's the listen, I know beauty is pain sometimes. It's the cat eye nails, I guess. I don't know, maybe I'm allergic to that. I have no idea. All right. Thank you, mods. You're the best. I love you with all my heart. If I don't see you soon, I'm gonna die. Stay cool, stay kind, stay classy, you guys, but stay safe out there even more. And who knows what else we could cover before Monday, but Monday, be here bright and early around 8:45 a.m. on Monday, because we are covering Brian Walsh's trial, gavel to gavel, every single day. It's going to be going on for probably the entire month of December. And we're going to be back on trial starting Monday morning. You're not going to want to miss opening statements. There is a full playlist of Brian Walsh. If you want to bone up on it before Monday, I suggest that you do. All right, you guys. Peace out. I love you. I'll see you real soon. Bye. Wait, should we I was going to say, hold on. Should we, do a cupcake raid on anybody who's live right now? Tell me who's live right now. Hold on. Is anybody live that we could do a cupcake invasion on? Because, that's like the kind thing to do. Send you guys over to somebody else. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Redirect. Do 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 do. I don't see anybody on my list that I'm allowed to. Turtleboy is going to go live tonight at 9, so go on over there and watch that. And I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. But make sure you have your notifications set so that you'll know when. Okay. Mwah! Peace out, you guys. Bye.